the SM Media Podcast Network.
Hi folks, and welcome to our 2025 SM Media Cheltenham Festival preview show. I'm Scotty Pike. It is always a pleasure to be your host, and if you notice that I'm excited and smiling, that's because it's the Cheltenham Festival, and this is the show of the year I look forward to most of all. Our big festival preview, where we're going to look at all the big races at the Cheltenham Festival and give our best bets and best opinions on each race. To join me as always, it is an absolute delight to be joined by, from the Scottish Daily Mail, Callum McClurkin.
Yeah, hello there. Yeah, it's very close now. Obviously, doing the preview show. All preview night season now's in, and it goes up a notch, and the excitement goes up. The tension goes up because you just want all the horses to kind of make it. As many declared as possible entries materialising. Seen the weights revealed, so it's another step closer to seeing the kind of full jigsaw that you're working with. And yeah, it's getting very, very close now. You can see kind of all the favourites aligning, all the Willie Mullins hot pots aligning. The Irish coming over, and yeah, it's going to be very exciting. A lot of top class racing to enjoy over the 4 days.
Yeah, just basically to explain what we're going to do here, we're going to do the four big races on each day, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we're going to do at the end of each day, we'll do a short look at the other three races in the card. So starting Tuesday, we'll go Supreme, Arkle, Mares, Champion Hurdle. Wednesday, Turners, Brown Advisory, Champion Chase, Bumper. Thursday, Mares Novice, Novice Handicap, Ryanair and Stairs. And then on Friday, we'll do the Triumph, Mares Chase, Albert Bartlett, ending with the Gold Cup. And then at the end of each day, we'll look at the other three races, just in a wee bit of detail, and just see where we're at. And then at the end, we'll have a best bet, a nap of the festival, maybe a lay, and an each way of the festival. We will start with the opening day at 1:20, the Supreme Novices Hurdle. I think before the Dublin Racing Festival, I think we were crying out for a superstar in this race, and boy oh boy did we get one. Kopek the board leads the market at 4-5 for Willie Mullins after winning at the Dublin Racing Festival. Romeo Coolio, Salvatore Monday 6-1. Work ahead for Henry de Bromhead at 12-1. You've got Kiswell, William Money at 16s and 20-1 bar. Callum, it was a race that we were saying, could it be a poor renewal? And then Kopek the board arrived and put in one of the best novice performances I've seen in a run up to a Cheltenham Festival. Is it just a good thing here, or are you looking maybe to take him on?
No, I mean he's head and shoulders above these, isn't he, on all known form and probably potential. Yeah, and his price is about right. Shade odds on. I think you might get better on the day. I think they might take him on and maybe we go 11-10. What he does in the parade ring will be interesting because he was pretty fizzy in the Dublin Racing Festival. It was a loose horse that messed about halfway. It still didn't bother him, and I think that's the kind of thing that people are missing when they are taking him on. He was pretty over. he was pretty over the optimum that day. And things went wrong for him as well in the race, and it didn't matter. He was still wildly impressive. So while people will be looking out to see, he might boil over again. Didn't stop him at Leopardstown. It still might not stop him here, so and that's got to be considered. He's working well at home. Apparently, everything's been A1 since, and yeah, he's about £7-8 clear in my book, so he's a justifiable favourite. It was looking a pretty substandard race until that, but there are dangers. Salvador Monday, he won't get the assistance of Paul Townend probably, but that's now a negative because they were kind of teaching him how to jump and settle out the back at Punchestown last day. He dug it out of the fire quite well. There'll be bundles more to come, but he is still a second season novice, and you'd be pretty disappointed if a second season novice still won this. And he has enough to find at 6-1 bracket. Romeo Coolio's more efficient in the way he did it. He's probably the rock solid one that will run his race. 6-1 each way. It's probably an each way bet to nothing. I'd imagine he'd be run fairly positively, like he was last time. Get beat the time before because it was too far back and maybe get done. with the winner's turn of speed. He has to improve again, but we know he can take Cheltenham when he was second the bumper where he's just outstayed. You just think that he'll probably bump into one here again, and that's probably going to be the favourite, and that's the kind of issue with him. He doesn't really do a great deal in front anyway, but he's a smart horse, and he's the one that had a lot of backlash last season coming into it, and he's justified his position near the top of the market. Work ahead and William Money, I've come into the equation as well. I mean, the work ahead's okay. It's only maiden form, and he's got to step up, but it's working out quite nicely. And he's got an each way chance. I would like him a bit bigger than 8s, but I think he's a good each way player for Henry de Bromhead. Plenty of experience. He's got age on his side. He's been freshened up since the yard target this meeting incredibly well. I think William Money would want it soft, but he justified his position here the last day in the way that he won. So there are 4 or 5 good dangers. I mean, and there'll be a couple of Willie Mullins outsiders. Carabao probably being the more interesting one, but they traditionally get put in their place by the number 1 in this race. So, and I expect it again. I do find it hard in summary to oppose Cop Out the Board. The market looks correct.
I think I'm again looking at the kind of early stage of the race before Cop Out the Board came out. Like, you were looking for something to take to maybe at the kind of other end of the market. I think Work Ahead's a very solid operator. I think he is definitely the each way player of this similar type of mould to Slade Steele, maybe. William Money, I think, could be in there as well. I think Romeo Coolio is a horse, Callum. I don't know if you agree with this. I can see him running a very good race and finishing third. Maybe like he did in the bumper last year. Like
second or third, yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. And I think Kopek the board. The three things I can take into account, obviously, what's he like in the parade ring. Have your bet late if you really feel that's a concern. His jumping was a lot better. Willie Mullins has said a few times that the engine's there. He likes to have that type of horse in the Supreme. I think even at 4-5, I would say he's very, very hard to beat. He just ticks the boxes. He's very, very exciting. I think we're potentially talking about a monster for the future. Salvatore Monday, I can see improving, but whether that'll be either does the Tully Hill thing of really improving or bombing out. Like, that's what I can see happening. Tully Hill mold kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I could see happening with him. One at a wild price that I'm just going to go here that was second behind Kopek the board. Now, he will obviously have to improve massively to even get closer. Carnegie at 33-1, I think, could be an each way player. Willie will maybe throw 5 or 6 at this. You can see it maybe 10, 12 runners. Like, if he's...
Yeah, I think there's a few that'll stand their ground. Yeah, I think you're looking at 11, 12, which some people think might be disappointing, but actually that's probably a decent field in recent renewals.
I think Carnegie could run well at an each way price. I think, though, it's very hard to see past the favourite. 40 Coates has entered in here at 80-1. Like, I'm not sure. I think he's maybe more a Turner's horse, but I think if I was to do a tri-cast at the moment, Kopek the board, Romeo Coolio Work Ahead with maybe like a Carnegie maybe finishing 4th or 5th. Like, that's what I can see happening. Like, I think it is very, very hard to see past the top of the market. Both in agreement that Kopek the board wins.
Yeah, I think Kopek the board wins. I think he's the quickest horse in this race, and I think there'll be a big enough field that'll be settled. And even though he can boil over at the start, he did that at Leopardstown and still won anyway, and that's still the best form. And it looks like he could only really get better as well. So he's already got the best form in the book. He's the quickest horse in the race. He's pretty tactically versatile as well, as long as his jumping stands the test. But I mean, there's no reason why it won't. He's ground versatile. Yeah, I think there's a lot to like. I think the big negative for Salvador Monday is not having Paul Town in, because he was teaching him kind of the things that he was doing wrong, and then you're getting a jockey change for that. And is there as much improvement as people think, because he has a second season novice, so it might not be there, and he needs a great deal to be involved. And Robert Coolio's rock solid, hit the frame and work ahead. I do like his temperament, and I think he's another kind of reliable, solid operator that I think does have a lot of scope to improve as well, that could hit the frame. I just wonder if he's just going to be staying on for a place kind of thing. So yeah, I would be Kopek the board to win, and you'd be looking at Romeo Coolio Work Ahead as each way alternatives against Salvador Monday.
Yep, I think we're both in agreement there. We'll move into 2 o'clock. We've got the Arkle Challenge Trophy, where we thought we were maybe going to get the duel of the festival between Sergino and Masborough. Sergino obviously ruled out, but Masborough leads the market here at 8-13. Load of Sud at 5-1. Django Bain 9-1. Only by Night 11-1 and 16-1. Bartlett's a touch me not. Ballyburn's in here. He's not going. Masborough Callum, I think we're both very excited. I think if you'd said 12 months ago this was an Arkle horse, I would have been very, very surprised. But he has done absolutely nothing wrong in his 2 starts over fences, and I think it's 2 out of 2 for Mullins in the after this.
Absolutely. Wins doing handstands at you. I think you win easier than Cope out the board. Yeah, I really like this guy. I gave him a chance against Sergino anyway.
Okay.
And the way he won the Triumph, which shouldn't have suited him in theory. In theory, this shouldn't suit him. He strikes him as a horse that can do absolutely anything. I think he's the next future star. I think he's the next off the chain from Galloping des Champs. I think he's that good.
I think we could be talking next season, is he a champion chase horse, is he a Ryanair horse, or is he a Gold Cup horse? I think he can do
it. Can do anything.
Yeah.
Do anything. Run him in the 100-metre Olympic final. I think he's honestly... Yeah, and the thing is, when you've got a horse that you expect so much from like that, you just kind of hope that he delivers and no mishaps happen. That's the kind of thing. You just want him to stay on track and keep doing what you think he can do and fulfill an enormous potential. So just saying Sergino because he's in the same bracket, he's the same excitable bracket. You know what I mean? He would have had a proper dust up. And yeah, I mean,
19 years since a 5-year-old won this race.
Well, that's the thing, but I mean, how many of them are like that? I mean, you're looking at recent records. St. Sam get beat. Fakir was close second. You've had 4 or 5 in the last few years that are, they're nowhere near this level, and he's not getting any allowances. He doesn't need it. He's by far the best horse in the race, and I think it'll go off short of Shishkin did at 4-9. I think he'd be the one. He's the first one that you put in the multiples all week that you don't have to remotely think about and worry about. Barring mishaps, barring something out of the ordinary, he'll win this.
Is there a danger? Is there a horse in here that can get any close to him? Load the Sud obviously has been consistent. Django Bay been rerouted here after failing to beat handstands. Only by Night is an interesting runner. You get Touch Me Not. I don't really see much else after that. But can any of them maybe? This won't be a big field.
No, this will cut up. But Load still can run. But he's an honest horse. He's not progressing though. He's won 4 times. He looked good here on chasing debut. He went to Sandown and was a bit scruffy there on bad ground. And he did the same at Warwick, didn't he? He was kind of scruffy there and getting the bad ground. And he had a harder race than anticipated there. And he's just not getting better. You expect novices to improve all the time and have scope. He's just kind of staying the same. It's a decent bar, it's 150 form, but when Edwardson won the Arkle, you'd be thinking that this guy could go really, really close. There's a star in here, and he's not it, and he's going to be found wanting. If he wins, it would be because the favourites underperformed. He'll obviously get credit, and rightfully so. If you win an Arkle, you win an Arkle. But yeah, he's a clear second favourite, and I've got no interest in him, and that really kind of heightens the appeal of Masborough. Django Bay's too slow; he's not quick enough. Only by Night, I don't think it's good enough. The form just doesn't stack up. I can see why they're running here because the trip's more suitable, but trying ground, they might look at the mares. Chase still. Touch Me Not's the one that will be second. Okay. Second, the Irish Arkle took him on and did okay. Maybe forced some kind of clumsy jumping at him a little bit. I wonder if they'll kind of maybe take a lead here and sit in and race him and play for second. Because if he does, I think he'd turn the form around at Sandown below the Sid if they did that. Better grounds, more gears, and you get the impression that he's a year younger than Loudon Sid. And you think he's improving. He's hard. He's second first all the time. He's hard. He's improving. He's getting there. And I think he's better value for the forecast auction in behind than Loudon Sid. So yeah, it'd be pretty straightforward for me. Masborough to win, Touch Me Not to be second.
Okay, I'm going to go for Masborough as well, and don't really have an each way alternative. We'll move into the 320, where the champion hurdle's obviously been moved forward to 4 o'clock, so the mare's hurdle is before the champion hurdle. And before we get into the prices, Callum, Do you see one or both Brighter Days Ahead and Lossiemouth running here?
I think the exchanges are pretty solid now, and I think they'll both run the champion.
Right, well, let's take them out of this, right? We'll cover the race as if they weren't running. Jade de Grugy 11-4, July Flower 5-1, Kyrgyz 8-1. You've got Golden Ace 12s, Calaconte Take No Chances 14s, and 33-1 Bar. You've been of the opinion that this is maybe one of the poorest grade ones you'll see at a festival, but it is an open race. And is there an angle in at the moment, taking away the two star mares who at the moment look like to be going to the champion hurdle?
This is a race where I think the Northerly Q here to take on the favourite.
Okay.
And Jade de Grugy. She'll go off short. She could conceivably go off as short as the other three on the day.
Didn't she go shorter than Lossiemouth last year?
What price did she go off? Odds on?
I think 4-6, I think she was.
She won't go on odds on. It's about 64 short, something like that.
So.
I mean, you take the two out of it, which some bookmakers are now, she'd be about 74, 13-8 bracket. So, I mean, 5-4, you're looking at probably at best. 19 days ago, she ran on the Mayor's Hurdle and won fine, won well, and extended well from last line. She was niggled at halfway. She's been off all season. They were surprised to get her back in time.
They looked to be going fences at the start of the season. That seemed to be the
plan. Setback, came back. Gallagher was disappointed to see the colours. Kyrgyz disappointed to Isaac. Just think she might be just a bit flattered in terms of that. Yeah, she's progressive, but she did come over here last year and get beat. I know there was kind of excuses about her and Brighter Days Ahead were kind of just looking at each other, but at least Brighter Days Ahead finished off a race, finished second. She finished fourth in essentially a three-runner race. It was disappointing the way she checked out. 2.5 miles suit her better. And I suppose the way she hit the last line, she has hard to oppose, but, you know, a 90-day turnaround after a season off, she could bounce, and I think there's better options elsewhere here. And there's good horses in behind. July Flower has been mapped out for this. Henry de Bromhead Yard love the race. They've got a good record in it. I think she's more interesting at 4s than Jade de Grugy is at 13-8, things like that. She has enough. She would like it maybe a bit more attritional with a bit more ease on the ground that she might not get, but they might water it sufficiently enough to get away with it. And she might be good enough anyway. She did quite well last day, and which was maybe a better race than Jade de Grugy was. You'd have a chance. Kyrgyz seems to be going county hurdle now.
Yeah.
Could have stepped up from that, but I'd imagine they'd split them now.
What do you think of Golden Ace?
She's a doubt, isn't she? A big doubt now to run. And I don't think she would stay, so she's got distance for a little bit, but I think it stretches her. Take No Chances is interesting. Cheltenham Yard, you know, beat Kyrgyz fair and square. And a trip that's maybe shorter than her optimum, the distance winner. Trail's no stranger to success in this. 8-1 bracket. It's not bad. Calaconte turns up. She's got a chance at the weights against July Flower last day. She's pretty hard and consistent. So there are each way alternatives against them here. I'd be with July Flower at the moment. I've not firmed up a plan, but I can't see myself back in Jade de Grugy at all.
I like your thought and Take No Chance. I thought she ran very well, beating Kyrgyz last time out. Won at a wild price, Callum, and I don't think I'm ever going to get off this train. And I think there's a part of me thinks she might like a step up in trip. Dysart Enos at 33-1. She could run a big race if she goes here. I don't know. I think they have just tried to get her in handicap. She's only entered here, so I'd imagine if they are going, they're going to take the trip. I don't know where else they would go. Like at 33-1 in a race that might cut up. July Flower's okay. I think if it was a stamina test, I'd probably go with her. Calaconte, I'm not sure if they go here. I just think at 33-1, Dysart Enos, I think if she's declared, she'll not be that on the day.
Yeah, you see, it's just last run was very disappointing, and it's bringing her back from that and freshening her up really. It's a race where you could have a dart at something conceivably. You know, I mean, you could have a boil over here. You know,
she showed a bit of ability to stay when she was third in the race behind Bartlett Road and be aware.
See, but I mean, she's very fresh, isn't she? I mean, the Greatwood, she didn't settle at all, and that did her in. And a bit like Gold Ace in that bracket. I just think, and Cardista saying, I just think she's a bit too fizzy to do herself justice over 2.5 at the moment. You know, I mean, you could. To me, it's shaping up as a potential kind of Marie's Rock, Black Tears, Roxana year where you're going to get a boil over.
Yeah,
and I think Jade DeGrugy is a big contender to not progress as much as people think, and she doesn't have as much either. And she's barely ran subsequently. You know, she's had one run since disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, there are 10 better favourites than her all week, you know, and that probably includes some handicap blots as well. I mean, she wouldn't be for me at all. I think July Flowers, a solo one at the top of the market. She's a reliable one. I think she's bound to run a race. So whether she's quick enough, and she isn't, you know, the Skelton horse would have an each way chance as well. But I just think it's going to be a year with a shock result.
Okay, so you're in the July Flower camp, and I'm going to go big at these Dice Arinos each way. Big race on the Tuesday, the Champion Hurdle, and if we get what we're hoping to get here, it could be one of the best renewals in a long, long time. Constitution Hill 4-7, Brighter Days Ahead 9-4, Lossiemouth 4-1, State Man 5s, and 33-1 Bar. This could be epic if we get this, and we'd still have an odds-on favourite.
No, I think we are, yeah. And Constitution Hill's hardening because he's just showed the right signs all season since coming back from injury. You know, he's come back, he's won at Kempton. Okay, Lossiemouth probably offered gain from the off, but he still did it. You know, he's won an international since. He didn't need to take that up. They did. He won that as easily as he'd like, as he should. Okay, there was a kind of mishap at the last, but still brave enough to find the leg, so at least you know he can overcome that. And he's had a gallop subsequently, which again, it's not revealed much about his true ability and where he is at, but you know he's on the straight and narrow. You know he's reasonably healthy. And you know he's reasonably fit coming in here, and he's a defending champion. And on his old form, you know he's light years ahead of these. The two mares have potential in behind.
Is there too big a gap between the two mares in the bet? 9-4, 4-1.
Possibly in form, in Cheltenham form, there definitely is. But you know, one's progressing and the other's kind of in the back of a fall. So I mean, it's hard to have confidence in it. It's the kind of thing that will reveal itself in the day. Because if you know, Lossiemouth, okay, A1 in the background and things, but when people see her, think she's well and fit, and then the yard get involved and the connections get involved, and there's confidence in it, you can see her getting cut in the betting. Also, the issue is that probably, you know, is Paul Tennant still going to stick with State Man as well? The likelihood seems to be that he will. So there's that issue as well.
Who rides Lossiemouth, Danny?
Well, probably Danny Mullins again. I mean, even though the fall happened, but yeah, he's the second best jockey in the yard, isn't he? You know, he is the number 2. So yeah, you'd imagine it'd be the same jockey arrangement from the Irish Champion Hurdle. I mean, it's a really interesting race. It's a tricky one to assess because it all revolves around the favourite and how much of his old ability remains. And
what about the fact that King of Kingsfield is in here? Does that change it for you?
It's another factor to consider. I mean, he's going to be a pacemaker again for Brighter Days Ahead, and the fact he's in there is a plus for the mare, obviously, because they want a frenetic gallop and they want to bring her excess stamina into play. The fact that the ground, though, is probably going to be quite dry is probably against it a little bit. It nullifies it. And, you know, is King of Kingsfield going to get the freebie and be good enough to give her a lead for long enough for it to happen? Because if you look at her racing, she does not do a great deal when she hits the front. She's a bit rangy. They're talking about going over fences anyway next season. That's maybe more of her bag. And you do have to question, you know, is this her natural kind of game? Now, 2 mile hurdling and breeding, it really isn't. And her physique suggests that it isn't. if it's good ground and if she's clumsy and she does clatter one and she can do that, she'd be in the back foot pretty quickly here, because there'll be no hiding place and it'll be quick ground, and you do have bona fide world class operators around you, not just underperforming state man. The same argument could be made to Constitution Hill and say, well, he's just beating rubbish all the time as well. So that's a kind of thing you've got to ascertain, is how much of her potential is stratospheric and going through the roof, and is there potential regression in Constitution Hill? And are they kind of roughly of equals now in the middle? And the mare's getting £7. It's a really interesting, difficult race to work out.
I think the issue I've got with State Man is, and again, this is maybe something that a lot of people are going into. I think the one thing with State Man we've always said is that he's never been a top notcher. He's got by last year. He won the champion hurdle, but did he win it well enough where you think could that win this year? I don't think if he produces that this year he'll win. Do you know what I mean? But he's regressed from that. So do you see him bouncing back, even with Paul Townend on board, to beating Constitution Hill, who might even be £10 below 175?
State Man's got no chance.
I don't think so.
He's got absolutely no chance. He beat Irish Point a couple of lengths, and I thought he was pretty tired at Leopardstown, I've got to admit. And I think Lossiemouth would have beat. I know it's too far out to ascertain that, but I think she would have beat him, and beat him quite well. And I don't think he acts around Cheltenham Old Course 2 miles particularly well either. I mean, the only benefit that you can see of him was his consistency, and that's been slowly eroded. So he wouldn't be for me at all. And I think Paul Townend, I just think it's kind of one of those Facile Vega blind spots that the Mullins Yard has, where they just keep the faith in this horse all the time.
In fairness, if you look at Paul Townend's career
over and over again,
if you look at Paul Townend's career and say what's the horse he's probably won the most out of apart from Galloping the Champs, it probably is State Man. So I can see where he's coming from.
He's a serial winner, and that's what he did at that grade. But this is a different ball game. Constitution Hill is here. Put him in his place once before already, comprehensively. Brightly's Ahead's done the same thing. I believe that Irish Champ Harlot Lossiemouth would have done the same thing. He's fourth best here for a reason.
Does Constitution Hill need to be at his best to win this?
He needs to be near to his best. That's the issue. He needs to show more gears than he already has, and that's a doubt about it off such a long absence. Is it there? The impression is that it is, but you do not know that until 2 out, where he will have to go for it. And the signs, the worrying sign kind of was there at Kempton, where I think they kind of went for him a little bit, and he did paddle a little bit.
So when you said obviously Constitution Hill paddled a little bit, the one thing I'm going to say about Lossiemouth here is watch back that race at Kempton where she obviously blows it at the start, right? I think you can edge your card mark pretty early out, but she travels really well to the line. And if Constitution Hill was allowed to go out in front, Lossiemouth's the only one, and I'm including Brighter Days ahead in this, that I can see really going after her.
Yeah, and the thing is, that Constitution Hill's not going to get a lead, is he? Yeah, King of Kingsfield was going to go like the clappers for the first mile, so he's not going in front. I think Lossiemouth, she's been trained for this for 2 years now. 2 years it's been the plan. The connections, I wouldn't give up on her just yet because of that fall. And if she's okay, I know it was a big fall, it might dent her confidence, and they might kind of get her out of her comfort zone early on and things like that. But she was going hammer and tong with State Man quite a long way out, and she looked like she was just beginning to maybe sustain it a bit better than him before coming down, because it was a big lead. She just took off far too early and came down. And I think that was Willie Mullins kind of ascertaining, all right, the two of them just go at it, and this will firm up plans for the champion and see if we can take on Constitution Hill or not. And obviously it went wrong, but I think it found out that Lossiemouth can go that gallop breakneck early on, can probably sustain it, probably was sharpened up after Kempton, which would have suited Constitution Hill more than her. She ran better than a lot of Willie Mullins horses did travelling over, even though she was way off her game.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't shown it yet, but there is a big number in her.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be in a couple of weeks' time? It could well be. it's a race where you wouldn't be shocked if any three of them won. I'd be shocked if State Man won. But if State Man won, it would be the kind of the year of in the Cromwell horse, the juvenile one.
Espoir Ballon.
5-year-old, where all the top three kind of disappointed to varying degrees.
But you could. I know it sounds stupid, but you could see that happening. You could see something ridiculous happening because.
And a factor of that is that none of them have ran a massive number. Really, Brightley's Ahead did when beating State Man, he underperformed, but it's still kind of, you're pushing 160 for him. Constitution Hill ran at 160 at Kempton. It's not astronomical figures. We know Constitution Hill can.
What did he run? What did you say he ran at in the international hurdle? Would you like?
50?
Yeah, belt in the last. Like it does that. It does that at Cheltenham. He's beat.
Well, he's rated 175, isn't he? So I mean, 157. I think there's another couple of gears there. So I mean, I think he ran to 157 at Kempton. And this is just my figures. 150 at the international. That's all he had to do, but he still proved that there was so much there under the bonnet. I think there's other gears. So he's rated 175. So I think it's reasonable to expect him to run into the mid 160s, and I think that'll be enough to win. I really do, because I just don't think Brightley's Ahead. I can see her making a mistake and feeling. I can see her kind of hitting one, being the back foot, maybe being outpaced, and maybe not quite getting there. But she's one that's got enormous potential, and if she continues to improve, she could definitely get there in receipt of 7. And Lossiem's the same, where you just don't quite know, and you just think her back catalogue suggests that there should be a big performance, but coming back of the fall has to dent confidence a little bit. So if anybody put up any of the three, I would have absolutely no issue with it. But the market right now, as it stands, is probably correct. But it's going to be an interesting tactical battle, because King Kingsley will be up there. Bartlett Road, if he runs, would be up there. They might explore handicap options. It depends if it cuts up to such a large degree as well. I mean, there could be 6, 7 or 8, and there could be just 5 or 6. So, yeah, the only thing he guarantees it's going to be run at a pretty frenetic speed to try and get Constitution Hill out of his comfort zone at all. But I don't think they will, and I think that it's just whether that extra gear is there up the hill.
So you're in the Constitution Hill camp?
Marginally, yes. Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
I think I'm going to go Constitution Hill, but I would really keep an eye on Lossiemouth in the market. Let's look at the other races on day one. We've got the Ultima Handicap Chase. We've got the Fred Winter Juvenile Handicap Hurdle and the National Hunt Chase, now a handicap. Any of those 3 races you like anything on?
Ultima, not really. Usually there's kind of something that comes up by then. For me, the change of man has been a big mover. Category deserves a lot of respect. Bisaccio, I suppose the long-term plan, I kind of wavered a little bit with it. I would be committing to anything in that. The Fred Winter, I mean, the top of the market, I think Total looks most interesting, isn't it? I mean, there seems to be a kind of obvious block there. 132, it seems workable enough. His jump needs to improve, but I think that's the kind of thing that all of a sudden gets brushed up on the day, doesn't it? And it's fine, you get a bit worried about it, and then you jump them quite cleanly. Nature of the race just seems to definitely suit him. Wouldn't be interested in the Mullins Battalion here. Mostly I might be slightly more interested, but I think they were triumph hopes. They've got stiff enough marks. This probably wasn't the plan. Naturally nimble, it's probably a bit too high. I thought Put Your Hands Together was quite interesting as well. I thought he was the second on the list. And Wendrock, Gordon Elliott's only kind of serious challenger. So I think they were the kind of 3 that caught the eye initially in that race. The new terms of the National Hunt Chase, which is a handicap at a 0 to 145. It's maybe a bit more kind of Kimure-like in the way that it's a 0 to 145, but it's professionals, and the way you've got to kind of qualify for it a little bit to kind of mark them up and mark them out. I mean, now's ours marked out quite well for it. Horticulliers is British equivalent, and that's why they're the top 2 of the market. Captain Cody might have more class than them, but Stamina would be a doubt. And Transmissions get good course and distance form, so it's very hard to look beyond those 4 of what they do. So I think you could kind of wait and see till the day and see what they do. But because it's a hard race to kind of now ascertain in trends because the conditions have changed. I've quite liked Horticolor all season. I would quite like. I'd like to see him win that, but it's not been quite a betting proposition yet. But then the market looks pretty well formed for that race.
Yeah, I think in the Ultima, I did think Lowry's Bar was worth keeping an eye on, but he ran deplorably last time out, and I'm not even sure they're going to go here. I think he's high enough in the weights anyway. I wouldn't put anybody off a wee each way play on Famous Bridge if he went for this. I know it's the colours and things like that. I just think if he gets in, he's 24th on the list. He's been given a rating of 132. I wouldn't put anybody off, anybody having an interest in him if he goes for this. And the Boodles, I've liked Wendrop for this all season. I don't think he ran terribly in the Grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival. Is he quite high at 138, possibly 136, but I wouldn't put anybody off him. The Joseph O'Brien horse that I'm really warming to is Beyond Your Dreams.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of contenders, isn't there? And jockey bookings will tell you, what's going to go along there. But yeah, there's 5 or 6 kind of types there that are real spires. Stencil at the top of the market, I thought you get quite a big hike.
Yeah,
the French horse. You just wonder if he's quick enough in the ground. I mean, it looks pretty dry. Forecast long range. I don't think that would be a plus to him. So yeah, I'd be surprised if he stayed favourite come the off.
yeah, I think so. I think there will be a gambling something. I don't fancy any of the Mullins horses. Willie the Huel getting 140 puts me off straight away. Murcia would have to jump better, I would say. I think all the Mullins horses have to jump better. I did have Lavender Hill mob on my radar, but he's been too in and out for me at all. In the National Hunt Chase, I think Captain Cody, I'm very similar to you. I think if he was I think if he was allowed to kind of maybe get a bit of a kind of easy toe into the race, I think it could be interesting. Will he stay? I don't know. I can see them maybe looking at Venetia's got one here called Tanganyika, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's potentially a decent staying operator in the future. Whether this comes too early, I'm not sure, but it's shown decent form over 3 miles. Get form in behind Jaguar in November at Bangor, which is obviously quite a kind of staying track as well. Whether that's one to maybe look at price, I don't know. The National Hunt Chase, I think, is very, very tough to call this year. Best bet in day one?
Day one? Oh, it's funny. I've not actually had an anti-post bet at all on day one yet. So probably maybe Horticolor, the National Hunt Challenge Cup Novice handicap. I think you lean the Brits. I just like the way he's been campaigned all season. I'm wary that there's very unexposed Irish types in here, but it's all, of course, distant form. I imagine Sean Bowe will keep the ride, and in a staying kind of test like that. Yeah, I think he could do it. I mean, there's mileage in 135 for sure. So no gimme in a race of that nature. But 72-41 bracket, I think he's bound to go well.
Yeah, and I think if you just want to get your money in straight away, back hope at the board, the opener. We'll move into the opener on day 2. We've got the Turners at Novices Hurdle, formerly the Ballymore. This could be a very good race as well. Final demand in here at 64, really impressive in the Nathaniel Lacey. The New Lion, very good in the Challow, 11-4. You've got the Yellow Clay at 7-1, James's Gate at 12s, Potter's Charm, 6 Mile Bridge 16s, and 25-1 bar. You've got 3 Grade 1 runners in the last run, Callum. Very, very interesting race. Who do you like?
Final demand over the New Lion for me. Irish form over British form. Tick. And he's a better horse. Just the ground coming to New Lion's favour might help, but the Challow form, we know the records, we know the backstory. Okay, it's GP Maris has bought it, dancing on a different trainer. That might harbour more hope, and he's a more archetypical pace horse that should suit this race out. But we haven't seen pretty much anything of him off the bridle, and he will be off the bridle in this, without a doubt. And you just wonder if it's going to be a bit of a culture shock to him. Final demand, I think he's versatile enough. I think he's quick enough. I thought he showed that winning the last day where he won his head and his chest. Maybe not the deepest of races, but he couldn't have won it any more impressively. there's a bit of brave man's game about him. Now, the drawback to that is that brave man's game get beat. He looked like a strapping 3 mile chaser and maybe beat for speed. But I think this guy's got enough early tactical speed to deal with that. I think he can deal with drying ground as well. I think he's the best horse in the race down the line as well. I just think he's going to be very, very hard to beat. And 13-8, I don't think it's too bad. The yellow clay's interesting. He's probably an each-way bet to nothing in this, 8-9-1. They're leaning this way. They've always been leaning this way. They don't think he's an out-and-out 3 miler. I think he might have maybe be too much class, and his bare form stacks up with the top two. So yeah, I mean, there's good words about the new line as well. But I mean, at 94 British form taking on this, I mean, we've been down this road numerous times before this decade, and it tends not to go well. Back in British Novices, Grade 1s at 94 against, let's be honest, good opposition here. You know, this isn't a kind of tenuous kind of Willie Mullins hot pot favourite. You know, this could be another future Gold Cup type. The Yellow Clay is a good Gordon Elliott horse as well for the grade, and good Irish horses tend to beat what we see as great British horses at this time of the year. And
well, there's an interesting stat here, and again, I'm not just making this a stat show, but we obviously talk about the 0 for 18 Challow record. There's only one horse in the last 13 years to win at Cheltenham after winning the Nathaniel Lacey, and it was Let's Dance in 2017. So it is a tough race to win to then go and follow up at Cheltenham. But I think Final Demand has shown he looks to be class. It looks to be very good.
Yeah, and that's kind of because your star 2 miler that Willie Mullins has normally
goes up.
Has run in this race quite often. You know, Ballyburn and Perry Pass, Sir Gerhard, the last 3 years, you know, Sir Gerhard was with Elliott at the time, but it moved over. They ran in that kind of 2 mile race, and they just went here anyway. He had another 2 mile. I mean, he's got two top class horses here. He's just got to split them up. And yeah, Final Demand, he looked like a Bartlett horse at Limerick, but he was back with a lot of confidence at Leopardstown. The race might not have been great in behind, but you know, he's done it so easily and impressively, and he looks very uncomplicated. He looks quick enough. He looks versatile enough to me. It's still the best form on offer. The Yellow Clay could do well. I mean, you've got bona fide top class horses that have won this. You know, Ballyburn, Perry Pass, Sir Gerhard, Bob Ollinger, Envoy Allen. It's a long list. I mean, Willoughby Court was the last British trained horse to win this. That was at 4 teams. The new line could buck that trend. You know, it's obviously the law of averages suggests that somebody should. But I mean, when York Hill beat a kind of an Alan King Pop Yanworth. So I mean, they just get beat. They just tend to get put in their place more often than not. And historically, you know, that's put into context. The betting, the new line might be the one that changes that trend, but you know, you're not getting much of a price now, are you? In relation to the favourite, he's been backed. GP Maris has bought him. Dan Skelton can train at this level without a doubt, but they might be bumping into a bit of a brute here, and I think Final Demand is probably the one to beat. And I mean, Yellow Clay could outstay the new line for second. One at a wild price that's worth. And there's a good mention of James's Gate, but he's 8 and he needs to kind of pick up a little bit. Cocktail Divan, if he turned up, 33s. Obviously, it's still a main, but he ran quite well second in the good company. It was good form. He's well touted in that race where he was third the next day. He didn't fire. Henry de Bromhead's yard at that time were in the absolute gutter. If you write that off, you know, he's got kind of correlating form lines that would take him maybe the 12-14-1 bracket at 33s. So he's the fly at the ointment at a big price for me. Just keep an eye on him. But yeah, I think that the favourite's hard to knock. He's getting to a pretty backable 13-8 here.
Yeah, I think 6-4, 13-8 is very good. I think the fact he's won, Willie Mullins has said he doesn't run horses like this in the Albert Bartlett. He would be odds on in the Albert Bartlett if he went for that. And
yeah, I mean, the nature of Albert Bartlett is it could beat horses, but if he thinks he's that good,
yeah,
then there's no problem. And his speed figure is right up there. You're with the new line anyway, and then visually he looks pace horse, but I mean, it's just the British form coming out of this. It's usually a bit flakier than the Irish form, and you can just see the bursting potential of Final Demand. He's more unexposed as well. He's 2 runs and he looks like a world beater. That's a scary thing with Cope out the board and him. They could get way better.
Yes.
Well, the yellow clay in the new line, you can trust to run to a really solid, good level. Is it going to be enough to stop top 2? Probably not.
I think Final Demand is the one to beat. The new line, you can't knock him for what he's done. I think he deserves a lot of respect, but if you were to say 6-4 Final Demand against 11-4 new line at the moment, based on the record, based on what we've seen, Final Demand for me would outstay.
What you need is a crawl. What you need is an absolute crawl and a turn of speed and a dash to the line. Now, the race might depend on what Willie Mullins puts in, because I think if you put a reasonable pacemaker in here, you'd beat the new line.
Well,
you'd get him off the bridle.
Could Kappa Jai Pike be that horse? Because
they'll be mixing them about. They'll have double figure horses for the Supreme and Turners, and they'll split them up. They'll split them up accordingly. It's kind of it's another race that I think revolves all around the absolute potential of the favourite. He's really hard to oppose, to be honest.
So we're both in the Final Demand camp. I think we might be a bit different in the next race. We'll go to the 2 o'clock, which is the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, and Willie Mullins has a strong hand. Ballyburn 7-4 leads the market. Dancing City 7-2. Better Days Ahead and Croke Park 8-1, 12-1 for Gordon Elliott. You've got Lecky Watson in here 16-1. The likes of Quay de Bourbon and Stella Story at 20s and 25-1 bar. Callum, how likely is it, percentage-wise, that Paul Townend rides Ballyburn?
100%.
Would you be upset if Patrick Mullins rode Dancing City?
I'd rather be upset him riding anything. He's clear second favourite in the market. Danny Mullins is second best jockey. He'd be on Dancing City, I would think. And Patrick Mullins is going to either be on, Lecky Watson or High Class Hero or Katie Bourbon or something like that. I mean Rachel Blackmore could be drafted in, but I think Gorgeous Tom's actually getting each way shout in this.
I do think as well.
I think, again, he's one of many Henry de Bromhead horses that could creep into contention this week, kind of off the radar because off the back of their quiet spell. But he's going to ride Ballyburn, isn't he? It's without question.
Where are we at with Ballyburn? Because at the start of the season, obviously with the Turners being removed, the Arkle seemed to be the plan. Well beaten by Sergino, ran okay at the Dublin Racing Festival. Now 7-4. Is there too big a gap between Ballyburn and Dancing City?
The rain's not coming for Dancing City, so probably not. Dancing City's an efficient, safe operator.
Does Dancing City need soft ground, do you think, to win here?
He does. I think he does. I think he really does. Or mishaps from Ballyburn, which could happen. But he's a solid, reliable horse. But he's only kind of disappointed. It was at Cheltenham as well this time last year. He just, if the old National Hunt Chase was about, I think he would have been trained for that and be 47, and go in. So he's also a year older, so you kind of wonder if there's any outstanding ability there. At least with Ballyburn, there is outstanding ability there. He's jumping. I don't think he's gaining any ground that he fences at all, but his back class is getting him out of trouble a lot of the time. And is slowly getting the hang of it, and it might be enough again here to win.
If he's 7-4 in the day, would you back him?
No idea. He's the makeup of the race, but yeah, probably. He probably would. He probably would have to, because I think he's. I usually get suckered into this race quite a lot by taking these horses on because it doesn't suit them, and I don't think this race will suit Ballyburn, and I don't think it suited Factifile either. Mm-hmm. He still won, and he still won fairly okay in the end, but he did a lot wrong. You can see Ballyburn doing the same thing, but still winning anyway. That's the problem with all these guys. And there's a lot of horses like that at Cheltenham that you think your natural instinct says take them on, It's trained by Willie Mullins, run by Paul Townend. They usually still win anyway, and I think he could be a similar story.
I think the more and more I think about this race, the more I would have backed the Jukebox Man.
Oh, I would have backed it. I mean, that's the other thing at that time when I said take him on is that the Jukebox Man's still in the race and his jumping would put him under pressure. I don't really see Dancing City being... He's efficient, yes, but is he quick enough to actually force mistakes in Ballard, the type of mistake that would put you out of a race? I don't think he is. I think Better Days Ahead could run better with the lead. But again, he wasn't really that impressive the last day, and I don't think there's a world of potential there with him. Crookpat seems to be entry bound. And Lecky Watson is a decent horse. I'd run Django Bay in this than the Arkle, but he's not coming anyway. Stellar Story's a dour stare, could creep into it.
Katie Bourne would need to improve.
He does need to improve the form, but I think there is potential there for him. And Gorgeous Tom likes good ground. It looks like he's going to get it.
I can see Gorgeous Tom running a big race.
He might run a surprisingly big race, freshened up. So he might be each way one. I mean, High Class Hero might be here. Jinko Blue might be here. Looks a bit unlikely. I think the rest probably won't turn up. But there's good horses that take him on with. But it's a type of race where he likes it. Monkfish did a lot wrong. Still wins because he's got too much class for him. Ballyburn's it's not in that scale. Fact to File, go off 8 to 13, too much class. Might bite, almost threw it away. But he was still the best horse in the race, and that's what got him over the line. Jerry Colombe got beat because he was too slow. He would have got there in another stride, but it's without doubt that he was the best horse in the race. So, Champ as well did a ton wrong.
My thought in this race has always been
because of latent talent, and I think the latent talent of Ballyburn will get him out of the hole and win this. Your instinct says no, but it's one of those where you just kind of roll with the wagon, steam in, and I think he'll win.
It's on the at the time the Brown they get through the Brown advisory. It's what they do after that worries me. We've seen how many horses have we seen not be able to move on from this. People talk about Albert Bartlett. I think this is a more tough test. Like Long Press hasn't fulfilled his potential. Fact to File still might present, and Percy didn't. Top of the game. Monkfish didn't. Before that, like you've got the likes of like Bobsworth and Lord Windermere the last two win a Gold Cup. Like I don't think this was the plan. It certainly wasn't the plan. I can see where you're coming from, though. I can see him.
He's bred for it. He'll stay. That's the other thing, and there's potential there. And the thing is, I mean, okay, the winners might not, but beaten horses can improve Novice and become Gold Cup contenders. Minilindo, that is, Aplutar with the handicap option. They just improve at different rates. This guy's forward enough. I think he's forward enough to win. He's getting the hang of jumping. You just see it being hearts and mouths, not being happy, but his class just overcoming them all and winning, really. And if you look at all the other favourites, there's quite a lot of them that are shorter. And, he does have a lot of back class in his book that's his favour. There's a couple of HV horses that are interested. They all probably are. They're all legitimate dangers on their day. But, do they have the desired class to really trouble Ballyburn? Like, did Monty Star really have enough to genuinely trouble Fact to File? Not really. Fact to File probably jumped better, but he was as keen as Ballyburn, things like that. So yeah, it's a trappy race where you've got to maybe make a late call on him. But I can see him being back because if Willie Mullins get off to a really fast start. If he's 2 or 3 wells the first day, Final Demand goes in, he is going to go off short. He probably could go off sheet of odds on maybe. So yeah, it's an interesting one to weigh up. I don't particularly like the horse. I don't think he's improving for fences, but I still think he could fall in.
Okay, so
Gorgeous Tom each way though.
Gorgeous Tom each way I would go with as well. Let's move into the big race on Tuesday, the Queen Mother Champion Chase. John Bond 10 to 11, pretty much faultless apart from his Cheltenham record. Gaelic Warrior in at 6 to 1. Energamine, I think the roof had come off with Marine National, won. They're both 8 to 1. Solness, 2-time Grade 1 winner this season, 9 to 1. Ali Francais 10, maybe cover him later, and 16 to 1 bar. John Bond Callum, pretty much faultless. The only knock is his record at Cheltenham. We've seen beaten favourites in this before. 10 to 11, is it a good thing, or is it too early to tell?
Because the thing is, it's probably too early to tell. Nothing's a good thing this race, given what's happened before with like Duva and Defi de Soy, Shishkin. A lot of better horses than ever been beating this at shorter prices. The problem here is, what do you take him on with? There ain't a lot, is there? And he's getting better this year. He's maturing as a horse this year. I don't think Cheltenham's a big negative that he is. Okay, he doesn't act around it superbly, but he made one massive mistake of the Schlure that should have knocked him out of contention at all.
Should have still won.
And almost still won it, and did really well to almost win it. And he's up for a battle. He likes to scrap now. I didn't think he did beforehand, so I think he's maturing. I think it's this year. I think it's all aligning for him, but again, it's just if something untoward happens, then that might do him. But he's shortening because the opposition are just falling by the wayside. Early fronts he goes Ryanair. Energamine won't have his ground here by the looks of it. I think he's interested if he comes back, but he needs it bottomless. Gaelic Warrior, hard to trust, needs it bottomless. Marine National could run well. A hard race last day, but he lacks bona fide top class potential over fences. He's not as good as John Bon, all things being equal.
Is Solness overpriced at 9 to 1 based on what he's done this season and what he can do from the front?
But can he get another lead again like he did? I mean, the last twice, I mean, you'd be amazed if he did. Okay, he's gone hard and improved, and he probably will get his ground, but can he go to the well again? A tougher race, and does that not just tee things up wonderfully for the favourite as well? He can just be positive, have the aggressive ride that he needs, track him, pick him off and win. El Fabiola will go. Captain Guess, he's had his time. Found the 50. If he comes here, the squeak, I prefer him to like Calixios and outsiders like that. Matata again, another nice pace angle for the favourite. I mean, yeah, it's just this kind of, sometimes it can go wrong, sometimes it can't. I mean, I know Altior's won it twice, his favourite. He has disappointed as well. But yeah, El Fabio is just a clumsy fall, and Energamine's one as a favourite. So they can win. They don't all kind of fall by the wayside. Age 9, 4 of the last 6 winners have been that age, that time, and you trust Nicky Henderson more than most to get him right, and I think he is in very good heart, and he's just better than these now. All of them are kind of blotting their copybook left, right, and centre. I think he's getting off in the bag, and he's no gimme, he's no banker, no price, but yeah, I think he's another one that wins. You can't predict something untoward to happen. It was like El Fabio. El Fabio, let's be honest, if he gets round and nothing happens, he'll win. Defi de Soy, I think he could have doubt his pace and things like that. That was a bit doubtful.
He's more solid than them, though. I would say, like from the angle that he's done very well. Defi de Soy ran badly before. John Bond's never like ran a stinking race.
Duvan had historical issues and things. So I mean, so yeah, there's that thing. You know, well-being. I think it's a massive tick. He's pretty versatile. I think he gets on with Nico de Boinville really well. Knows him well.
I think that's been the difference as well.
Running him aggressively didn't happen in the Arkle. They kind of went about, and El Fabiola, who's kind of just allowed to just whiz clear of him. They got that wrong that day. I don't think that was a track. I just think that was kind of a bad right. He was the worst positioned out of the three. The Dysart Dynamo was there as well. So he kind of done that day. He still won around Cheltenham easily. He still put up good figures, good performances, and yeah, I think he's best around. And I think he's been better this season than he has been in all his life. And remember, he get beat. Constitution Hill beat him. You know, El Fabio beat him because he was a better novice at the time, and it tactically went wrong. You know, and he was only beaten 6 and a bit lengths that day. And he doesn't fall, and he's not had problems, and he's maturing, and he's in battle for the horse. And yeah, the only thing you're worried about is the back history of the race. It just seems to be, for some reason, a bit of a graveyard. The price, I don't think will change much from the off. And in a normal year, you'd stick him in your multis with Marsborough, wouldn't you? Quite comfortably. But it's just that race that seems to be the leg that seems to do everyone in recent years a little bit. You can't predict anything untoward, all things being equal, and I'd expect him to win.
I don't want to be like, I don't want to knock him. I don't want to be like late. I don't want him as the lay. But I think in the without market, forgetting a without market on the day, and it's the word soft is in the ground, I think Energy is a knocking bet.
Yeah.
We know he acts around Cheltenham. We know he'll get closer to John Bond than he did at Ascot.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
he was comprehensively beaten. And the last time we met, when he bumped into Shiskin, he really was quite close to him anyway, and that didn't suit. But yeah, there's going to be room for him. There's going to be a bit of scope to improvement. But he's now 11. He's come back from an injury, and the long range weather forecast says he's not going to get his crown.
Okay. So you're in John Bond camp at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll maybe play Energy Mean each way at the moment.
Keep an eye and find the 50 for runs here as
Okay.
well. I mean, I think he could box on and be like, don't know if he's going to go Ryanair. He's kind of just been forgotten about a little bit, but he put up a big figure at the start of the season, open company, and he was second in Arkle. It's quite a lot of people don't fancy him, but he really runs a poor race. And when he did, it was after two big efforts early in the season, and they've kind of taken the foot off the gas with him. He can go well fresh. He's an interesting springer wherever he turns up. Might be more natural 2.5, but I think he might have the pace and with the breakneck tempo up front, I think it might suit him like it did in the Arkle. He was second. Then Gaelic Warrior, I think he's kind of regressing a little bit. I think he's a bit quirky at natural, but I think he's just one to kind of just keep in your radar a little bit.
We'll move into the Weatherby's Champion Bumper, and we were waiting all season on Willie Mullins producing any sort of horse for this. He's now got the two at the top of the market. Game of Inches at 4-1, Copacabana at 5s, David Pipe Win Beneath My Wings at 13-2, Bambino Fever for Mullins at 7s, along with Calypso Chance for Gordon Elliott. The likes of Jalon Dudaris at 14, Aquaforce, who's recently been purchased from Willie Mullins at 16s, and 25-1 Bar. Callum, it's a race that Willie Mullins dominates. He's won I think he's won 11 of the last 16 or something like that. Do you like his horses here, or is there an angle without the Mullins team?
Yeah, I mean, the last two that have come off the rank have been kind of saviours, haven't they, really, for him? Copacabana, Game of Inches. It'd be 20 days since he would have won that. What's he beating in a bumper like that? But he's done it visually again, very impressive. Copacabana visually pretty impressive. Win Beneath the Wings slaughtered the field at Ascot. Calypso Chance did pretty similar, much earlier in the season, 3 months ago now. Bambino Fever did that, I think, to a lesser degree, not out of it. And again, it's and Jalon Dudaris is coming back from a year off, so you probably get more Gigginstown runners than you think. Probably fewer Willie Mullins runners than you think. A British horse that is a bit of a springer that was back in Ireland before. I think good ground that they might get if the long range weather forecast holds up will be a benefit for him, because I think he's maybe the paciest in the field. The top two in the Willie Mullins market and Calypso Chance are probably more natural hunt bumper type, so you can see them progressing into kind of high class hurdlers and chasers in the time. Maybe Win Beneath the Wings is more of a kind of flatbread operator, and the kind of, if he's going to win it, it'll be kind of like a dream to share mould. I don't think you'll see him do much over hurdlers. I think he's kind of a flat horse masquerading in bumpers a little bit. And David Pipe's got previous, so he's been the one that I've liked most all season. But I mean, you've got to consider the two at the top of Willie Mullins there, because it's Willie Mullins, and visually very, very impressive. So I prefer Copacabana at the two, probably just a price thing. But I think he'd be a bit more versatile in terms of ground. I think he'd cope with good to soft better. Well, I think the winner probably needs it bottomless, needs him to go overboard too quickly and win. I mean, look at Jasmine Devoe. I mean, he can outstayed them all. Now, he's another horse that can't jump and is in the 3 miler. A lot of the champion bumper horses, the only one actual pace, Romeo Coolio, that's actually competing at these kind of 2 mile speeds. So you do need a bit of excess stamina, but you do need a bit of speed. And I think the ground's the equaliser in that, and I don't think they're going to get it heavy, because if it was heavy, I think Copacabana and Game of Inches, I think it'd be really hard to look beyond them. I think that the ground might bring Win Beneath My Wings into it. No drama this end as well. It brings some British horses into it. Champagne Jury's a decent horse of Cromwell's as well. Fortune de Mare is one that I like, and I think I will have to back him. I know Huntington was a massive disappointment, but Dan Skelton said that it was just a float up and he was going to be way too fizzy anyway. Okay, on face value, it's bitterly disappointing and nowhere near good enough, but he's come to Cheltenham the last twice, second and first. They were astonished to get beat the last day. He was quite quick to rectify that, won only by half a length, but he was hard held in the bridle. And if he settles and if he's fine, and it's a big if with all of these, to be honest, as if they settle and handle occasion, but if he does, he's been there across some distance and did it. He improved dramatically from his first run to second run from that, and I think if we give him a break and done the same at Huntington, I think you'll see a completely different horse. Whether he's good enough, probably not, but I think, in a race where, I'll be honest, I really don't have much interest in him at a price, the 25, 33 to 1 each way bracket, I can see him being smuggled in from at the back. The top of the market, if push comes to shove, if it was rattling quick ground, and maybe back Win Beneath My Wings if it wasn't, and I had to back one of the Mullins horses or Calypso Chance, I'd probably back Copacabana. But it'll be wait and see. But the only one horse that I know that I'll be backing for certain at big prices would be Fortune de Mare. Maybe more hope than expectation, but I can just see him leaving that Huntington run absolutely behind, and it'll come home fast and late, and good to soft ground would be right up his alley.
I've got a few here. I'm going to just start with the first one. I think at the top of the market, I think the one I like the most is Copacabana. I think that's the one Patrick Mullins will ride. I think he's more likely to run on decent ground, and as you say, game of inches. A couple of wild price, and I don't think I'll be mentioning the name Paul Nicholls very often in the rest of the show, but I think No Drama This End is a very, very good bumper horse. I think he beat a really nice, well-fancied horse of the Skeltons last time out. That form has worked out pretty well. Another horse that I quite like, British-wise, is a horse of Harry Fry's Idaho Sun. Thought he put in a good bumper performance at Huntingdon a few weeks back. That seems to be a form of that's working out quite well. And I thought the race at the Dublin Racing Festival was pretty poor, but I thought Surtudo looked to show a bit of kind of staying ability. I think if it got into an absolute grind, I think I wouldn't rule out Surtudo running well at an each way price. But other than that, I think Copacabana would be the one I would say is winning, and I would keep an eye. Maybe if you get maybe 5 in each way, maybe 250 each way, and the other 3, and just see where you go.
It's probably quite an interesting ball. There's a lot of different types and different angles here, and it's probably quite an interesting race. Arkle Force could be absolutely anything, couldn't it? I mean, you just don't know. It's a race that the thing is, No Drama This End was entered in the same race that Win Beneath My Wings won. It came out sale certificate, and they were pretty much the same price in the betting as well. So maybe No Drama This End is a bit big in relation to Win Beneath My Wings, but again, the betting doesn't say that he was going to win like Win Beneath My Wings did. So yeah, there's so little to go on, and there's so much kind of just your own kind of impression. It's definitely a race to kind of wait in a day, maybe pick one at the top of the market, and maybe have one or two that are big prices, because they can certainly hit the frame in this, can't they? The way Patrick Mullins as well as Angle, he also rode Calypso Chance. So
yeah, and he was very high on Calypso Chance.
And he was very high in Calypso Chance, and he was very high in Copacabana, and I don't think I've really seen any quotes from him after.
I think Paul Townend will ride Game of Inches, and I think Patrick Mullins will ride Copacabana. I think Jodie Townend will ride Bambino Fever, because why would she come off, and why would they have her off Bambino Fever?
Yeah, and it's a mare, isn't it? And the weight will be an issue for the others.
Yeah.
I mean, jockey bookings are going to be significant in a race like that. I mean, how forward is Challenger Dairies? Would Delete number one ride him instead of Calypso Chance? And he was similarly backward into this last year, and still did incredibly well to get third. It seems to be a bit of a role. Kind of
Gordon Elliott immediately said after the race last year that he would be a stay in the future. So whether it's because last year was a slog and he stayed on pretty well to be third. If the ground was what it could be, what we think it is, then I wouldn't say.
Decent. I mean, I don't know. Again, we all got 3 mile boats, but the 3 mile boats can win this today. I mean, Jasmine Devoy has essentially turned into that. Fast Vegas should probably been running over 2.5 and 2 miles. All his life. Sir Gerhard found his niche over 2.5. Envoy Allen, 2.5 miler at the end of the day. So yeah. It depends on the nature of how the race is run and what happens. But yeah, I think it's quite an interesting race. It always is, but as a betting kind of telly, for me, it doesn't quite work because it's very hard to back anything with confidence when it's open like this. So yeah, I've been waiting for jockey bookings and things, but yeah, I've got a rough idea of what I'm going to do. But it is not a race that I can really hang my hat on too much.
Okay, let's move into the other 3 races on day 2. We've got the Coral Cup, Cross Country Chase, and Grand Annual. Coral Cup, Callum, I kind of know where you're going. Cross Country, I've got an idea where you're potentially going now, and I've nothing in the Grand Annual, but I've got one in the Cross Country that I was going to go, and I'm just waiting on your reaction. And I put them up in a preview night before. Surely Mr. Coffee's day will come soon.
Jesus Christ. If that wins, then just retire the race in its honour and let's move on with it and
consign it. 8 to 1. 8 to 1. I can't see him being out the first 4 or 5.
Yeah, I might back him to be second. He's nicely weighted. He's got a chance and things like that.
1, 4, 3. Yeah,
he just refuses to win. So I mean, yeah, if I back him, I'll back him in the place market.
Would you be against Stumptown?
Yeah, I think you'd have to take it off in a 94 shot like that. Massive hike in the weights. Yeah, I mean, it's able to work out. My low interest in this is it's non-existent, to be honest. The ground might come out Galvin's way. He's just not been seen for a while. Off 144 days. Reappearance run was okay. Gets £3 off Stumptown. Might be his year. Again, if he's fit enough. Vanilla, I think we need it soft. And
I would need it very soft, yeah.
And I know it's softer anyway. I know there's still bits of heavy in it, so it's still naturally softer. So I mean, there's a good chance that it will still be soft all round, but I don't think it's going to be as hot and deep as it is.
In all seriousness, can I throw one at you? Can I throw one at you at a potential price in this? I don't know, well, maybe not a potential price, but I think Bustleton, if the ground was okay, could run a good race here.
Exactly. I was thinking kind of if it was good to soft Bustleton and if it was soft heavy Vanilla.
Yeah.
Is where I was kind of thinking with Delta Work being out. The fact that the handicap gives Bustleton a chance, isn't it? It gives Vanilla a chance. It gives more horses a chance, which should make the race interesting, but it doesn't.
Anything in the Coral Cup and Grand Annual?
Coral Cup would be away. That's probably one of my best kind of bets now. And as anticipated and put up 14 to 1 bracket, nice 7s. Kopek to me seems to be going Martin Pipe. Seems to be. So you've got maybe that kind of unknown danger going out the way here. I just think he's ridiculously unexposed. Yeah, he's racking up seconds and thirds, but looking back at those runs, I don't think that's anything to do with his temperament and being a dodge. I just think he's getting there a little bit too late. And the step up and trip will help him with that. And he's been mapped out by this for the yard. And as long as he settles, I think he's going to be hard to beat because I think he's very unexposed. Bally Adam was second this last year, 16-20 to 1. 10-year-old consistent Henry de Bromhead handicap. You can see him running credibly again into the places. Joey Machan, another Skelton horse, but is Harry Skelton going to jump off? Be aware to be on him. Maybe a bit doubtful. And there'll be others that will creep in there on a big price. Comfort Zone, well treated on his day. Joseph O'Brien held back a little bit. He's one to note. And Jimmy Desoy's been off all year. Apparently, this is a plan.
Yeah. 20
to 1, second to Ballyburn in last year's Grade 1 Novice hurdle. So there's going to be dangers in here at the 20-25 to 1 bracket that he'll miss and they'll materialise. But yeah, I think Be Aware at the top of the market. It's the one they've all got to beat. And providing he settles and doesn't do anything wrong, I think he's just too unexposed to stop.
I don't really have much in the Coral Cup. Nothing's jumped my. I did fancy James's Gate strongly for this. I might have a wee saver in Super Sunday because I thought maybe a handicap a Martin Pipe. Won at a wild price in the Grand Annual, and I think I think the top two in the betting would be quite hard to see past in the form of Liberty Hunter and then Unexpected Party. But one at a wild price for Emma Lavelle that I think could run a big race, General Medrano, I think off 143, seems to be just kind of very consistent this season. Has had 5 runs, hasn't run since January, beaten some decent operators, ran at kind of Newbury and Doncaster. I think at 25 to 1, Ben Jones probably doesn't take the ride. He's running a lot. He's rode the last 3 times. I'd imagine he'd run something for Pauling in here. But I wouldn't put anybody off him at 143 if it was to get at. Well, definitely again because he's 20th. But he's one that I could see running quite a big race at an each way play. It's tended to go to something quite kind of experienced, had a lot of runs in the past few years. So he could be one that could go under the radar, I think, here.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, Unexpected Party, Global Citizens, one at Crockle Bay, one is a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of surprise, kind of big price kind of winners.
And it's tended to be a race Britain have done well in over the past few years. Like the Bromhead obviously won it the year before with Mascada, but Britain that's usually been a race Britain have done well in.
Yeah, I mean this year they could come back. I mean, if Liberty Hunter was going to win this, it was off 140 last year, 11-1.
Yeah,
and it's CMD. Yeah, he's got up a little bit. It's not insurmountable, but is he going to get soft ground? It doesn't look like it at the moment.
Love to see Jazzy. I don't know if Jazzy Matty will go here.
Jazzy Matty, I think this is the plan, and I really liked him long term this season. I would rather see him in the 2.5 miler.
Yeah, I would
too. He might go frantically enough that he'll get away with this. I just wonder if he's got enough requisite pace for this. Because if he was in the Jack Richards, I would back him. But in this, I'm less confident. But he's got a featherweight and he'll go well and he's unexposed. And I think he's got a profile. And he's the one at the top of the market that I like. Unexpected Party's up in the weights. He's now 10. Can he do it again? I actually think he'd be disappointed if he did. It would be a bad race. It would be a bad race if he won it again. The King of PRs, disappointed this last year. He did better, but just wonder about his profile. I think Midnight It is more interesting in the Cromwell Yard if he takes his chance. He's about twice the price at 20s. My mate Mossy could go here, seen deform, but 9-year-old 151, it should be tough in theory for him. And PN Derg of the Nolans is quite interesting as well. I just wonder if he's still well treated enough after winning at the DRF.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good. He seems to be reasonably primed for this as well. We might go here with GPR1 as well. Big weight though, but could do it. I think he's threatening to shape up as if he wants a little bit further as well. Caliph de Belly probably a bit high as well in the weights. The horses that are kind of 150 plus, I think they might kind of struggle to give it away. And the one at a huge price that I backed in the weekend at 50 to 1 was a bit of a flyer, but it was Third Time Lucky of Fergal O'Brien's.
Yeah.
He was fourth at it the year after his Novice. 2 or 3 years ago, he was fourth. Dino Blue was saying that the things in a better renewal off 149. He's now 134. He's had problems since. He's changed out the Cheltenham Yard into different ownership for 170 grand in the summer of 2023. He was off the following season with an injury. He's had 3 runs since coming back. Second to Batata, course and distance in November at Cheltenham, which was an okay run where he kind of backed out of it 2 out. Matata's now rated 161, so it probably wasn't a bad effort in hindsight. He's been dropped subsequently. His next 2 runs have shown next to nothing, but the owners bought him in 2023 for the Cheltenham Festival specifically for Cheltenham. They're all about Cheltenham. Fergal O'Brien's desperate for a winner at the festival. Now, he's shown nothing, but he's been ridden differently. Twice he's been ridden handily, and he needs to be ridden cold and late. And if they revert back to those hold-up tactics, he can pick them off up the speed and maybe go close and give himself a chance of seeing it out. And he's that kind of 10-year-old forgotten horse, like Global Citizen, maybe better extent, Crockle Bay, Rock the World, Solar Impulse's next sensation, Unexpected Party to the degree of pretty horses that you kind of know about and expose about and you kind of forget about and don't think they'll win, and then actually you see them win and go, well, it wasn't that impossible to find. He's down £14. He's a massive price. I think there's still 40 to 1 kicking about. 10-year-old, he's got a lot of back class. The handicappers giving him the chance that he needs. And at the top of the market, I find it pretty uninspiring. It's a bit like the plate, the open handicaps, because you've got to get these runs to kind of qualify. It's hard. It's hard for novices to come in unexposed now. There's probably a couple that are keeping in there that can do some damage, and Jazzy Matty might be the one, but I think he's more of a 2.5 miler. And others, American Mike's in here, I mean, he's hot and cold. He seems to be going here. You wouldn't be again, he's another that you wouldn't be surprised about, but he's still kind of 148 and pushing it, and he might want it a bit softer than he's getting. The third time lucky, he was pretty versatile ground wise, so. And he's just plummeting the weight. So just from a weights and measures point of view, he's worth a poke. He's more likely to blow out, but 40-1, he was the one that I kind of landed on a little bit. But yeah, closer to the day is going to definitely reveal a lot more.
So what is your best bet of day two?
Day two, probably Final Demand in the Turners.
Final Demand in the Turners for me. Let's move on to Thursday. The opening race is the Ryanair Mares Novices Hurdle. Maureen for Millie Mullins needs the market 11-4, 6.5. Gavin Cromwell 10-3. You've got Jubilee Alpha, Caroline Bamboo 9 and 10-1. Aurora Vega 14s, Galileo Dame and Just a Rose 16s and 20-1 bar. Callum, we've got two horses at the top of the market. They've both been impressive enough. I thought probably 6.5 was more impressive over hurdles than Maureen was. Do you fancy the top two? You're looking elsewhere?
I like 6.5. Okay. I would side with her. I think she's quicker than Maureen. I think she's achieved more. I think she's more straightforward. And I think she's better. And I think she'll win. Caroline Bamboo is more gears, showed much more the last day. Probably, I think she's probably a bigger danger to 6.5 than Maureen is. Progressing, definitely quick enough. Galileo Dame comes here, it'll be an interesting move. Definitely it's a form. We'll get the allowance. She'd have to come into the equation. And Paul Nichols's two, Just a Rose and Jubilee Alpha, are okay. They could take a hand. Again, unexposed British horses have had a decent recent record in this. So you can see them being players. Bit of money for Diva Luna. Ben Pauling's confidence is undiminished in her, but I'd be surprised if she's fast enough. Probably more of a 2.5 miler.
If it was an old course, based on what she's done this season, yes, I can't see her competing in this now. Based on what she's done,
stamina, but I mean it's competitive, and she has a chance, but she's just lost races that you'd expect to win here. I mean, if Willie Mullins' horse lost a race of that nature, it would be 40s. So yeah, I mean, you can see the appeal of it. I do think she's maybe been overrated a touch in this. This is becoming a bit of a sleeper kind of Henry de Bromhead loving, but Air of Entitlement catches the eye as well.
Yeah, well, the other one I like is Therese.
Yeah, both of them will probably run. I just think Air of Entitlement might get some better ground, and I think that might suit it slightly better. He's won good to yielding in that race at Down Royal in the spring, but that form, to be frank, because she put Ballybo in his place comprehensively that day, 3.5 lengths. If that's a sleeper for the Albert Bartlett, then this horse's form is better than that. Freshened up. I like the horse that's been put away at Henry de Bromhead's for a while for this. Did it with Magical Zoe, who was an unlucky loser. Honeysuckle was put away pretty efficiently. Did sleep in, come in totally under the radar. I think this is a similar type, and I think that's each way threat here. Air of Entitlement.
I like Therese each way. I think the experience she has might play a wee part here. She has got form behind a decent Mullins horse. I think it was Hello Sunshine. I don't see her entered, so I don't know what the plan is there, if she's maybe took a knock, but I would have probably give her a wee shot in this as well. Maureen's a potential horse, isn't she? Maureen's the one that has been the hype horse all season. I thought she was okay last time out. Like, I wouldn't say it kind of put up trees. I thought 6.5's performance was better. And I think the flat form that she has will be a lot better as well. Was she fourth in the Cesaro, am I right?
Oh, yeah. Rated 97 in the flat.
Yeah.
That's high class stuff. And she was a natural jumper the last day. I think she's better than Maureen. Maureen's more kind of There's one you're backing a Mare's Chase, it's Maureen. There's one you're backing a Mare's Novice Hill, and it's 6.5. I think that's the kind of type of deal with. But Air of Entitlement is very interesting to me each way.
I think I would probably side with 6.5 over Maureen at the moment. Caroline Bamboo, I think, is a sleeper. I think she was disappointing finishing second, but I think she bounced back pretty well to win. Couldn't have Aurora Vega. I'm actually surprised she's even in the discussion here because she doesn't strike me as somebody.
Fairy House was more the plan.
Yeah.
She's out because it means it's 7 and pretty exposed, and she probably needs it softer as well.
Yeah.
And would you send as many like that over, and she'd have a penalty?
I think 6.5. I'm going to go with you. 6.5 in Therese each way, and you're 6.5 in Air of Entitlement.
Yeah.
We'll move into the newly established race, the Jack Richards Novices. It says limited. I don't think it is a limited handicap. Novices handicap chase. Jaguar leads the market 11-2. Asian Master Firefox 9-1. You've got Nürburgring, Answer to Cave, Blizzard of Oz, No Flies in Him, Springwell Bay, Tully Hill 12-1 and 14-1. Bar Callum, I think this could be a really interesting race. Jaguar leads the market, forming the book at Cheltenham. Anything coming to you here? Because, again, very open. There's a lot of Irish here. I think the Irish have a strong hand. Anything coming down on you?
New race, very open, various gambles going off left, right, and centre. Absolutely no betting interest whatsoever. We'll wait till the day and see things materialising and keep draft up your shortlist. I think Jaguar could still be the one. He was too short overall. I think when they finally pick out the kind of Irish ones, I think he'll come back out, and I think he'll probably come back out to a reasonable price, maybe even 6-1 or something like that, and you might be able to get involved. Firefox up in trips, interesting, better ground, that'll help him.
150 range?
It's stiff enough. I think he's kind of. I think let's say I think that sums him up. He's definitely not well in here. He's plateaued. Asian Master, I can't have that. Is Pogtown going to be on? No, that's a big difference. Yeah, we've got the £7 claim. No offence, but I mean, you're back in the horse channel at 71. You want the stable number 1 on. It's
I think Townend will have a right in this.
You see, Olmere Park maybe. If
Tully Hill maybe. I couldn't have Tully Hill at all.
Asian Master, he beat the last time and probably should have won. Yeah, there is a race in him, but 4 teams. Yeah, he's now being challenged into single figure prices. The jockey, for his inexperience alone, it's got to be a negative. But he has a kind of type of horse. Answer to Cave can run well. No Flies in Him, if he turns up, could run well. Springwell Bay's got 6 entries, but he could turn up here. He's always off top weight, but 154. It has been franked. He's a justified top weight and could defy that. And he's got things like Blizzards of Odds and Western Diegos and horses like that that you can't really discount. But yeah, it's a newly reinstated race, and there's a lot of gambles, and they're all pretty short this far out with a lot of unknowns still there.
I'm not saying I fancy him, but there has been a lot of talk about Caldwell Potter going here. I could not have that.
He's not even getting his ground though either, is he?
Yeah, no
in
chance.
The long range forecast, he's not getting it. 146, okay. It might be.
It's a decent weight, but yeah.
But he's one to pick rocks. Another one that's moved in the market notably. You are going to get Springer after Springer after Springer after Springer after Springer after Springer in this, and it's a race. It is the race of the festival that I am waiting for declarations on. I would contemplate betting on this till the 48-hour stage.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few that maybe kind of interest me.
Hundreds.
Yeah, like Nürburgring, I think, has been earmarked for this.
Yeah.
Answer to Cave, I think, ran pretty well last time out. Has some good form behind him. Perry Pass and Lecky Watson. Blizzard of Oz, can he win a race? I don't know. The Asian Master, I think Thomas Costello claimed 7. So
he's to claim 70. But when I went through the top of the market in this race, I gave all 13 at the top of the market chances.
Yeah.
In the open handicaps, I didn't really. Martin Pipe, not really. There's only a handicap where I thought I could see that winning. I might not like it, might not back it, but could it win? It's not insurmountable. It's not impossible. And there's a lot of them like that. To me, it was just absolutely wait and see job for me.
I did have a wee interest before the Reynoldstown and PK Boy, but to finish 38 lengths behind a winner, you can't back him here, and he's actually only £1 less than the changing man, so I wouldn't have him here. Jazzy Matty, maybe, again, as you say, I wouldn't put anybody off keeping an eye on Facile Mode if he went here, but again, has to really improve on what he's done. He's been pretty poor this season, but I think there is a good race in him. Beat Touch Me Not earlier in the season. If it is decent ground, I could see him running pretty well, but has to really pick up on what he's done. But it is a really, really tough race. It could be one of the races of the week, but it's very, very tough at the moment to have a view on it.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely wait and see. There's so many in with chances and legitimate chances as well.
Yeah. Let's move into the Ryanair chase. Now, this could be interesting. We have Fact to File leading the market 11-8. Vibes seem pretty positive that he's going here. Gaelic Warriors in here at 7-2, along with Ali Francais, Banbridge and Spillane Tower at 5-1. Energumen's not going 7-1, along with Protectorat, last year's winner. 8-1, El Fabiolo likely not going here either. Jello 12s and 16-1. Barry Envoy Allen's in there as well, along with Hartwood. I think it all depends on what happens with Fact to File.
Yeah, and he'll run and he'll come here. I mean, if he wasn't running again, like the exchanges, I'll just tell you, if there was a semblance of a chance that he'd run the Gold Cup, he'd still be second favourite for that. He isn't. So he's coming here, 6-4. And
do you think it's just a Vautour thing where he just comes here and wins, or is there opponents?
There are rivals here. You know, he's not as good as Vautour. Let's be clear about this. You know, he is not. He's been. I mean, horses. He's been put comprehensive in his place here. You know, and he wasn't second the last day. Grange Clear West beat him as well. I know he kind of maybe had a first go and he was kind of mugged, but you know, he's kind of shown a kind of ceiling there. But I mean, he's not doing himself justice over 3. He's coming here because of trip. It's necessity, but yeah, is it Vautour like? Absolutely not.
What about Ali Francais coming here? Like,
no interest in him at all.
Why? Like,
track. He is a Kempton flat track bully.
Even if he's allowed to gallop in front. Even if he's allowed to gallop in front.
He's a bleeder. Undulations. No.
Anything else?
Not a hope in hell with a back him. No, he could defy it and he could win, but he would not be carrying my money at all. Why has he not been here before?
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing.
And you know, Kempton's his back. That was a big effort at Kempton here. That's his season. And he get mugged by Banbridge in the line and he was unlucky. But you know, all this talk after the Kiltle Star, we come here, didn't make it. It's a place, Kempton, you can get away with it. Flat track, you're comfortable, you're in your comfort zone, you can cruise. Undulation, you meet something strong, wrong stride, he's gone. No interest to me at 3s. He's a pace angle who set up the race and he's got to be considered tactically, but I can't contemplate having a bet on him. He wouldn't be for me.
In fact, the final one.
I think he will. Yeah, he's another one of these favourites where you just look at it and going, I'd like to take you on, but I tried it last year, it didn't work. I want to take you on again here. He is just about the best horse in the race. You know, this is his niche. He should use his jumping ability more in the 2.5 mile race. Yeah, and he's not massively a class above, but he's just a minor class above these. And again, it's another kind of thing of all things being equal, he really should win. There are good opponents in here. If Spillane takes his chance, I don't know if he'll defect to Fairy House or keep back. I think the signs in the training yard will be positive. JP will make the ultimate call because he want to run both of them here. Well, that's the issue. That's the issue. Maybe not. He was even accounting for ground. He was a little bit disappointing in the King George. Banbridge Gold Cup. Protectorat looks good as ever. Defending champion, he's okay, but he's now 5s and he was twice the price last year and younger, and he kind of got his own way. And better ground might ask a kind of different question for him. Jello, I'd be surprised if he's good enough. I think he's a bit short now at 10s, but he's progressive enough, and he's getting each way squeak. I found the 50 could come here again. He'd come into the equation. The Bromhead trio.
Hartwood's one.
No, he's not. It's Jungle Boogie.
Think so?
Jungle Boogie all the way. Watch that Gold Cup back.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How well was he travelling?
Yeah.
Didn't stay. didn't stay.
I think
Come back
Hartwood. I
here.
think Hartwood will
He's
appreciate
an
2.5
entry horse.
miles.
Be going here. Jungle Boogie for me. I know he's 11 and over the hill, but he's lightly raced. He won't ask it easily.
Yeah.
He likes racing. Nice break in between. He's unexposed enough. And yeah, I was contemplating nibbling away at him at 16s, 20s a few weeks ago, a month ago. But then Factify was coming here. I kind of went, no. But he's still the one of each interest for me. Envoy Allen was going all right in the King George before tipping up. Maybe he's in the decline a little bit. Well, I think Jungle Boogie's a bit more interesting and unexposed. I know an unexposed 11-year-old in a Ryanair, but it is true. Master Chick is probably going to come here now as well. I'd imagine Hitman might run. But yeah, I mean, I can kind of can see Jungle Boogie travelling really, really nicely at a strong pace. But the thing is, Factifile should be doing exactly the same thing. So I mean, I'd expect Factifile to win. Gaelic Warrior could defect here, I suppose. He's in the betting to suggest that he might threes.
Possibly.
But
I think Townend. I think Townend would be on him. I don't see what else Townend would ride in this, apart from maybe Green Square West. But
yeah, well, I mean, could you imagine Mark Walsh being in Spillans Tower and Paul Townend going on Factifile or something like that happening? Again, it's a kind of unknown thing where you'd have to kind of confirm plans later on. But I mean, Protectorat Jello aren't without a chance. Protectorat in particular, he's shown high class form, probably get the best proven form in this.
Do you remember who rode Spillans Tower at Punchestown behind Factifile in the John Durkin?
Wait a minute, Punchestown this season?
Yes,
Jack Kennedy.
it was.
He said he was 60-40 to make.
Yeah, if he did, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him top up in Spillans Tower.
Well, I mean, you're going to get a lot of the Jack Kennedy.
Because Gordon Elliott's got nothing in this apart from
Darrell Keefe will get spares. Sam Ing will get spares. A lot of good riders will get good spares. Particularly so particularly in like the COVID year, there was a lot of kind of good spare rides flung around. So you're gonna get that here. Thing is, I mean, DeBron has got 3 here, so I mean, I think Jungle Boogie, I think Dara Keefe will be on him, and I think he's interesting one in the trio. So he's got a very, very high cruising speed that suits this race, and he can see it out when fresh. And Ascot he won easily, despite it being clearly the wrong way around for him. Anyone wrong, and it's not the only time in his career he's done that or he's won. And the other reason I didn't back him was the week that I wanted to was I thought they might throw him in the Ascot chase and be tempted by that, but they haven't done that. I've stayed patient with him. I've given him the desired break, and he goes well fresh. And I like the gap between his last win and this, and on his Gold Cup effort where he ran really, really well and didn't stay, he'd be a big, big player here. And yeah, I think he's the one at double figure prices that's interesting against the favourite.
Okay, so we're going Factifile. You're going
Factifile and Jungle Boogie.
I'm going to go for Hartwood each way. I thought he ran a storm on the race. Drinmore. Finishing, only beating a length, but finishing 4th. Ran pretty well. Looks like he needs 2.5 miles based on what he did in the Irish Gold Cup. I think he's a real strong player here each way. I think probably, imagine Blackmore will ride Envoy Allen, but you might, I don't know who would maybe be on him here, but I think he's a maybe good chance each way. We'll move into the big race on Thursday, this Paddy Power Stairs Hurdle. Tia Hoopu going for 2 in a row at 4-5. Home by the Lee 11-2. Lucky Place 8-1. Wall Park 12s. Gill Road 14s and 16-1 bar. Can Tia Hoopu do it 2 days in a row? 2 days in a row, 2 years in a row?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'd be less confident this year than last. Better price, worse race. No brainer. Had his ground. Might not get that this year. So I think he'll have to ask. And he hasn't advanced his form this year. And I know it's second and things went wrong for him in the Hatton's Grace. And it was. But I think it was a run of similar ability to the Hatton's Graces that he's won in the past. I don't think he did much to advance that. And I don't think he did much to kind of show his tactical versatility that day. And I like the break, I like the plan, and I think he'll handle the ground, but I don't think he's as effective. And get Home by the Lee, he looks in better form this year than he did last year. He's got 5-6 lengths to make up, but they're intending to ride him differently. They're intending to ask more questions on the pace by the looks of it. And I think Teahupoo, for all that I do expect him to win again, I do think he'll have to pull out something a little bit more this year than he did last year to do it. It remains to be seen if he can do that. Lucky Place hasn't raced over 3 miles yet, but he shapes as if he'll get it, and he's a young, nice upcomer that's going to get his ground, and he's an unexposed rival that hasn't taken on the favourite, and you can see why he's attracted support. He's getting there. His form's being franked in lesser races. Okay, it's by the likes of Gill Road, but I mean, Gill Road's still been winning subsequently after him in better company. So, yeah, he's in the Wall Park is in here as well, and
Do you think he goes here? Definitely.
It seems that he is. Yeah, it seems to be the plan. And for Teahupoo backers, that slightly worry me a little bit because he was warm order for the Pertomps. Okay, he's still there, and it's still a little bit 50-50, but he's leaning here. And I thought it'd be discounted already by now, but he thinks he's good enough, and why he's going to, I know it's different ownership and things like that, but he is reminiscent of Saturday Bell. I just thought he might take his chances for Thompson, come back next year and maybe have a crack at Teahupoo next year.
Yeah.
The fact that they think they're coming here and the triple suit him and he's off the pace, stamina wise, will kick in. He's dangerous. And you've got two horses in there in each way bracket of differing qualities and abilities taking him on. You've got Lucky Place, who's probably the speedster and good ground horse. Has a bit of tactical speed. And if Teahupoo kind of fence him off, you're vulnerable to a kind of very unexposed dour stare in the Wall Park. He might come at you late and mug you that way. So, and Teahupoo, there's a likelihood that Jack Kennedy, who knows him really, really well, might not be on him. And it might be Sam Ewing's first taste of, you've got to ride this genuine, warm order, bona fide favourite for the yard. And that is a big, big pressure situation now. He's a young man that's clearly up to it and very talented. But we saw with Jordan Gainford doing the same thing with Jerry Colombe that can go wrong. Mm-hmm. And you can get beat. And the real whacker is a chasing equivalent of Lucky Place, I think, on this ground. Last year, I could not see Teahupoo getting beat at all. This year, I think he could. I still think he'll win, but I think there is a possibility that he could be turned over. Because there's new rivals. Rocky's Diamond's young and unexposed. Okay, he's got a bit to find, but he's another different rival.
Yeah.
Langer Dan, you can throw him in the bin, but he's Langer Dan, so he's going to get some attention, isn't he? July Flower could still come here.
Can I throw one at a wild price and see what you think?
Don't say Bob Ollinger, please.
No, I'm not going to say Bob Ollinger.
Mystical Power.
Campbell.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's not fun. I mean, the track's a bit of a concern, but it's got a high rating, and he made a mistake the last day where that was forgivable, but he did well. He's a Grade 1 long walk winner at Ascot. He's 25-1 in here, so it's not bad at all. It's definitely not bad at all.
Because he made a terrible mistake at last time out at Cheltenham, but he was still running onto the line quite well.
Yeah. And the tracks, it's more of an unknown than a negative, really.
Yeah.
The track, isn't it? But it's just whether they take their chance or not, or wait for entry. He's probably a type that they usually go to entry with if he takes his chance. He's interesting.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Home by the Lee.
I did at the start.
To be the one to beat him.
Yeah, but he's 60s now. He was twice the price, and he'd run onto a place. Foreign porters like that, they were prices that would run onto a place that would do you, and you're hitting 61. That's wafer thin each way territory, and you've got to respect Lucky Place in the Wall Park in behind. So he's not a guaranteed he'll be third or second in behind.
Do you think Teahupoo has his ground dependent?
No, I don't. But there's no doubt that his best performances have been soft, heavy ground, and he's more comfortable on it. And if he made that type of mistake that he did last year, 2 out, on better ground, he'd been a bit more bothered than he was. I mean, I'd still expect him to win. I think I'll still back him, but I was 100% confident this year. About 85% confident.
He's been a decent price all season. Like, he's been a shade of like odds against all season. Now you're like odds on, and you're thinking this has actually, there's some decent potential improvers.
In relation to last year, he's been a poor price all season.
Do you think so? I think it was
in relation to favourites in other races this year, he's been a good price.
Yeah.
In relation to what last year in the race alone, he's a bad price this year. But he's still the best horse in the race, and he's entitled to be the clear, undisputed favourite. But there are fresh dangers in here, and the second favourite is in better form than he was last year and got within 5 lengths. And that's the kind of issue here. I mean, you're seeing like odds-on shots at Marsborough. I don't see any danger. Barring himself, copyright the board, you can see him winning by a street. Final Demand, it's conceivable that he can win by a street. Constitution Hill, he could win by a street too. Who doesn't do that? And he does it with his ground, and there are a few interesting opponents against him as well. And without you get a slowly kind of tactically run race and soft ground. I think everything went in his favour that day as well, even from a tactical nature. So they might change it up to try and get him beat. And a lot of horses in this will just be ridden to beat the favourite as well, which you might not get in other races. So I'd be a bit mindful of him putting him in the multis at the moment. Maybe take a look closer the day and see how the ground fares. If the forecast changes a little bit different tactically, if Jack Kennedy's fit as well. So there's kind of wee kind of niggling things that you'd want to kind of firm down in your mind before betting in this. And I haven't had a bet on it, but can Mystical Power bounce back in this or something like that? Bob Ollinger, if it's ridiculously slowly running, he can settle. He might see out 3 miles. Can Hidden Valley Lake bounce back? Or with Rob Core, they'll probably defect some of them to entry anyway.
I can see probably.
How many are going to take their chance in this as well? How many want to take him on again? He's 5-4. He went off last year. I think he'll probably go off a similar price, maybe even money. But I think this is a bit tougher for him.
Okay. So we both, I think that Tia Hooper will win, but I would say there's decent competition here, whether they can improve. So you
tentatively sticking with Tia Hooper.
Okay, but there's other rivals in there who could be our option. Other 3 races on Thursday, we've got the Pertemps Final, we've got the Trust a Trader Plate and the Kim Muir Challenge Cup. Anything for the 3 races you like?
There's a few. Trust a Trader Plate, I was quite keen on. I was quite keen on Personal Ambition, but the last update didn't really inspire me with too much confidence from Ben Pauling, because he mentioned Shake Him Up Harry Moore. He won it last year. 20 to 1 off 145. So, but I mean, I just thought Personal Ambition I thought there was a lot of exposed horses in this because of the introduction of the Novices handicap chasing the same day, and whether horses will go here or not, and maybe quite an exposed C&D horse would win this. Gemaran could run well on it now. That's kind of going that way. Even though I think he's probably more kind of Ascot based, but he's 14 to 1 bracket. Fugitive, Path to Rue going up and Trip, horses like that might be a bit more exposed. I think Cabilly might go up and Trip. He jumped poorly. He was second last day. He might go Ultima. You'd imagine Jaguar goes Novices route anyway. They might not. That was a race that was kind of open to interpretation. So some might say the Kim Muir. I think now's our 139 is pretty reasonable. Salmon Jest, he didn't strike me as a kind of GP kind of plot job for this. I thought Johnny Who might have been the one there. Midnighter Fred's got a good chance. That's the kind of one that's been punted in like a Kim Muir winner normally is. Steadily clipped into 16s, 14s, into 10s. It's still steadily coming in. Then there's still another good word for it. And it'll probably hover around 8s all week, and then it might get back off, and it might have a late money run for favourite.
Depends who rides it as well. Depends who's on board.
Absolutely, it's an amateur jockey race. I mean, you want to wait and see who's on what. Derek O'Connor as well. He's going to be a massive factor in it. The player types, I think this is quite an interesting race. I mean, it's just whether they find it in the schedule now. It's at 2:40, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jericho Drepany, he could be thrown in. He's mega talented, but he's a bit of a screwball, and I don't think you could trust him at fives in a race like this. But he could be absolutely lobbed in and hacking up. So I mean, it is like, well, maybe a bit like Kopech to me. Maybe actually do that double. I think it's one of those where you back both. He's probably the Martin Pike now. Kopech to me, I think either kind of have a wee kind of token safety double and backing both if they are way ahead and they hack up. I just keep that in mind. It's one of those. It's you either kind of put up or shut, don't you? And I think he can only harden the market if, along with win some, lose some, if the Woolpark defects to the stairs, because that'll just increase their confidence. So again, typical strong hand from JP McManus. Will the Wise, will he get over that run 18 days ago? That's a big question. He could, but I don't want to find out at those odds. Expect him to drift. Catch him Derry for the Skeltons. Pretty unexposed. Did see him at Ayr. He's pretty disappointing last season when I saw him. It didn't strike me as a Pertont winner, but that could have just been an off day. And he's had a couple of them before, so short enough at 12. Feet of a Dancer's interesting. Paul Nolan horse. I think he's a big player. I think he's got a chance. She's got a chance. It's a kind of horse he does well with. Maybe not quite Mrs. Milner level of good in winning this in Grade 1, but going through the ranks without winning and catching the eye, and that's what you need to do in this. And she was third in a good qualifier. So out the top of the market, that was the first one I landed on. Henry II would need it soft, and does it look like he's getting it? And the art was another one that I liked.
Brian Cooper gave him, obviously it's his dad's horse. He gave him a big mention.
Second and third last twice, and again good runs. Carlisle was, I think, actually one would get bumped into an Ollie Murphy horse that wasn't fine. Probably committed from the back to the front a little bit too soon that day. I think be more patient with her. But the third, Gwynny May Boy, absolutely hacked up in a weak Grade 2 last time, and the handicappers whacked her, obviously. So that collateral form works out really, really well. If it was an Aintree, I would love Harbour Lake, I think.
Okay.
But Cheltenham would be a different question. But Alan King can provide springers in this race. I'd just like to see a bit more yard form with him. If I had to commit to two at the moment, it would be the Cooper and the Nolan horse. And I think this could be a race where it goes to kind of an Irish outside trainer that you wouldn't know about. So yeah, there'll be plenty of other kind of springers way down the market as well.
Okay.
You've had kind of 4 winners 10-1 plus the last 5 years in this.
Yep, just a few for the 3 races before we move into Friday. Just in the pertemps, Jericho Drepany I think could be thrown in, but is his temperament going to hold up? 1 for Mouse Morris, Franciscan Rock. 147 might be a bit high in the weights, but Mouse Morris again, I think I love him. I think he's especially when he's got a horse like this. Ran pretty well in the Galmoy, I would say. He's probably get his job done early. 147 could be a bit high. Beating Arkle again as well this season, who I wouldn't rule out for a handicap. I think there could be a good run in him there. I can see him running well about 20-1. He's obviously won a qualifier. I would give him a squeak each way, but again, could probably go to anyone. In the plate, I don't really have much of a strong view, but I would maybe go if she can get in. She's 41st in the list. I'd imagine a few novices will come out, so she might get in. Panic Attack for the Skeltons could run well here off 135. She has entered in the Mayor's Chase, but I would imagine the plan is to go here. I think she has just been solidly consistent all season. Really, really nice runs. 135 could be quite nice, and I think she could be in with a shout in this. Kim Muir, I think Mint Boy could be very, very interesting in this. Very similar to what you've said, like last season, Gavin Cromwell's got a good record. Been beaten by some nice horses, but been running strongly in them, beaten in that beginner's chase in the 27th at General Lappin one. there's a lot of horses in there that would interest you, and Mint Boy definitely needs 3 miles and looks to be improving. Was third behind I Class Hero last week. 11, only beaten 11 lengths, but I would really say that he could be one that could interest me here. Depends who's on board. I've also backed Hastings for this anti-post, but didn't run very well last time out. Would have to improve. Given 133, which is okay, but jumped very badly. I would imagine John Joe sends Hastings here and Cribelli to the Ultima, I think would be the plan. Sorry. He would send Johnny Who here. Johnny Who to the Ultima and Hastings here.
Could do. I mean,
So,
it's just hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, very hard to gauge at this point. It's draw up a shortlist and decide in declarations kind of thing, and you really need to know. I would like to know what the jockey would be as well for it, and it's a race that has had some serious plunges in the past as well, and that's where it kind of reveals all. Getmaker as well, run well, but it might not get the ground that it desires. But it's one of those races that, like, I think quite a lot of them in the handicaps. You'll probably find another one when you take a different look at it in different days and things and see that. But there's plenty of options to consider. But GP McManus, whatever he decides, will ultimately be very, very important.
Best bet in day 3. I think I'm going to go for 6.5 in the Mayor's Novice.
Yeah, I'd be the same. I think 6.5.
Let's move into the Friday. We'll start with the JCB Triumphs Hurdle at 1:20. Looks to be Britain have the top 2. East India Dog 15-8, Lalamba 2-1, Hello Neighbour 11-2. Willie Mullins has got Lady Vaga Allen at 12. Palladium's in here at 14s and 20-1 bar. The 2 British horses look to have the makings here. What do you think of this race? Because it's very much style over substance. Lalamba looks to have the style. East India Dog looks to have the substance. Who do you prefer?
Yeah, usually a bit of substance, man. But the market has actually corrected itself in this, hasn't it? Because when Lalamba came out and won, he did go pretty short. When East India Doc came out and won, he did tighten up, but not dramatically. And then when people look at back and he's seen D form and the horses that he's beaten, and what he's achieved, particularly speed-wise, he kind of has to be favourite. The thing is that Lalamba might be very, very special. And East India Doc is probably a very forward juvenile, and it is what he is. And he can get a bit better. It's whether Lalamba can put it all together this early, this soon. Masborough managed to do that last year. Kind of overcame it where he was pretty a traditional Triumph Hurdle type. They rate him very highly, Lalamba. I think there's been a bit of jiggery pokery in the last couple of weeks regarding Kempton to deliberately push him out to get a price to back him in. And I think we're getting to that point now where I think he'll be backed in. I think he'll win. I think he's special. I think there's just a lot of potential buffs that go out there, and I think he could beat East India Doc. I wouldn't be massively confident, but out of the 2, if you had to pick, and I think they are the only 2 that can win this.
What do you think of the Irish form?
It's not good enough. It is simply not good enough. It's £10 below what you need, I think, here. Yeah. And it's maybe on a par with like what Lalamba's achieved, Hello Neighbour, but you can see the obvious potential of Lalamba, where you can see, a strongly run race and more cover is going to suit Hello Neighbour, but does he have that potential ceiling that Lalamba has? I highly, highly doubt it. And East India Doc, he's doing really, really good things already. Brilliant in the flat, he's jumping really well. He's very efficient. He's very quick. He's the now horse, and Lalamba's probably the future horse, and that's why the market's gone 15-2-1. But I think there's bundles to come from Lalamba. I think Kempton is kind of mess around. I don't think there's any intention to run there at all. I mean, Nico de Boinville is going to pick him. There's no question. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where a narrative is created. You just call it for what you see and plough through it as a punter and say, no, I mean, They'll just it's just all hearsay. He was very good at Ascot. The form could have been a bit better in behind, but I mean, Monuman doesn't settle. Vianney's not let it down. Subsequently, it was a good race. And he looked pretty professional on debut, and he looked like he would improve massively for it. And there was a massive wow factor to it. East India Dock, he's hard to knock. He's favourite, and your form logic's telling you that he'll go in again, and he easily could. And good ground will suit him with his pace. Just think the trainer, the jockey, and the potential of Lamba, it could just usurp them, and you can see him maybe kind of ranging and bearing down on him like, Kirgisi was like, away gone, short, professional, keen, pacey, but mugged in the running, and I can see Lalamba just mowing him down in the running. I'm afraid.
I think there'll be a wee point in the race. That's what I'm kind of thinking. There'll be a wee point in the race where the Lambo will just have that wee bit of pace that will just take him away.
Potentially, to back Lalamba, you've got to think Sergino-like quality, Shishkin-like quality. This is a yard. No disrespect to the East India Dock team and forwards, but this is completely new to them at this level.
Yeah.
Lalamba is coming out triumphant. Nicky Henderson, you can reel off the quality National Hunt horse winners at Cheltenham Festival have here historically. And if it's fine margins, you can't really pick in the horse. You're going, which camp do you trust? The trainer that's been there, seen it all, done it all, knows exactly what to do with it. Won't miss. It's a potential prep or the new up and coming yard that are maybe learning things and trying to find their way a little bit. And if you are taking kind of 50-50, 2-1 the pair, that kind of thing can sway punters' mind and say, a bit like the Willie Mullins factor, tried and tested. I mean, I'd feel more like an idiot if Lalamba won than I would if East India Dock won, betting the other way. That's what I'm feeling. It's a bit of a toss-up. I think Hello Neighbour, I can see him travelling quite well till 2 out and then maybe just being outclassed. I can see the same thing happening halfway up the run into East India Dock. Yeah, I mean, Lalamba, is it all hype? Yeah, possibly, because he's only had one run, but excitement's been there. He's been well found in the market. There's striking resemblances to Sergino. He's the one in the future down the line that could be absolute top class. And the Triumph now, the way they're sourcing horses, is going to future top class horses without a doubt. You get forward juveniles could win it, and I mean, Goshen, for instance, would win it. But you kind of knew that he wouldn't train on massively.
No.
I mean,
Vauban, maybe similar, like has trained on flat.
Vauban is very successful in the flat, winning grade 2s in the flat. I mean, he's a high class horse, not in the context of National Hunt game, but a high class operator. Lost him with Marsborough. If this is the type now that you need to try and I mean, East India
Lalamba ticks the box,
but Lalamba all round probably ticks the box for me. And they were happy to dive in at 64. East India Dock's giving them something to think about, but you're getting a better price now at 2-1 bracket. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if either of them won. It wouldn't be a rock solid opinion, but I'd be in the Lalamba camp.
I think Lalamba has the kind of the class that I think could just put East India Dock under pressure. East India Dock's done nothing wrong, and I'm not saying here that he's a bad horse.
He's a clear form pick, and he's got speed, and he's proven around C&D, and he is improving from run to run, and he does have that flat boot, and he might well win, but I mean, there's just more of a wow factor to me in Lalamba, and he is very, very unexposed, and he could just absolutely show it. I mean, if he improved 25-30 pound a day, I mean, I think it could be blistering. He could be one of the best winners we've seen in this race, and there's been a good recent history of very good high class winners, and he could be the next one as well. Just a bit more likely in East India Dock, but I would like to see James Owen win it. I mean, I would definitely, if I'm on a losing ticket by Lalamba, I wouldn't be disappointed.
I think James Owen will have horses that will go here, and we've seen with Bartlett Road, he's obviously got a tremendous kind of amount of kind of talent here. A couple at a price. Lady Vega Allen, I think, will run a race. I think she'll maybe be in the frame each way. I don't think she'll be as good as the top two, but I think she's one I've got on my radar going up in trip next season, when I'm into a Mears hurdle level. And I think a good flat horse that I think is taking quite well to hurdling in his first start. Blue Lemons for Willie Mullins could run well at 33-1. Wouldn't rule him out at all. But I'm with you. I think Alamba's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to kind of the tactical aspect of it as well. You know, small field might help East India Dock to dictate and kick. He settles. I think he settles perfectly fine and straightforward. You know, from the front. I think that might help him. It depends how many will Willie Mullins run now. You know, will he really bother? Will he just run Lady Vega Allen and a couple others, or will he fling in 6 or 7 in here?
He's got. I mean, like
Because
he's obviously
Lady Vega Allen is rated lower than Mercia and Willie de Hoy, and she's the number one in the Triumph. You might as well fling in Willie de Hoy and Mercia in here, on ratings rather than ponce about lumbering top weight in a pretty competitive handicap. So St. Lucy's still entered, Charles is still entered. I mean, Mercia and Willie de Hoy would be as short as Charles. Just because he's won a maiden and then done nothing else means that he's there. So it depends how many flings at it. Mondo Man's there. You'd imagine that quite a few would still take their chance. But yeah, it's all about the top two on form. I think Hello Neighbours outside of the 3 contenders, but justifiably so. And I think he's now been clipped in to such a degree that his price has gone. And I haven't mentioned Palladium, who seems to be running. He's a flat horse. Again, he's got enormous potential as well. And if you like Luamba, then you maybe got to kind of tentatively consider him, even though it was a long summer plan to maybe campaign him in the flat. He's a very expensive purchase. He's got high back class. He kind of bundled in the last day. He was definitely not as impressive as Luamba, but
didn't jump well enough for me last time.
No, and I think it's a little bit too much too soon. He's not a natural really, Luamba, but he does have back flat class that attracts a lot of people into him, and that's why he's kind of 9-10-1. But again, like you, he wouldn't really be for me. But maybe a truer run race would suit him. But he could be a different proposition as well. But they're all very unexposed, lightly raced. I mean, all 4 of them are unbeaten at the top of the market. So and there'll be others outside there, Gibbs Island, Live Conti, to take a chance. That adds something to the race. So I think it's going to be a very good race. It's going to be a very good duel in the top of the market, and there's some decent types that will run with credit in behind. But yeah, just out the top 2, 75-25 Luamba.
Yeah, I think we're both in the Luamba camp. Let's move on to the Mayor's Chase. We have Dino Blue at 11-8. Allegory Devassi 11-2, Only by Night 7-1, Spindleberry 15-2, Bioluminescence and Limerick Lace last year's winner 8-1, 11-1 Telepathique and 25-1 Bar. Dino Blue, I wouldn't have her at 11-8.
Wins.
Okay. Why is she so short?
Because it's aligning to her campaign's been mapped out ever since she was second the last day. Some underwhelming runs in Grade 1 company that's still very good form in this context. Second and 4th, it's not as if she didn't completely turn up, but she did back out of it slightly, and second the last day was a bit coming out, beating Allegory Devassi, giving her weight.
She's to give weight again, yeah.
But Allegory Devassi isn't Limerick Lace. On soft ground peak. We know that she's been beaten the last twice in this, 4th and 2nd. She doesn't get any better.
She'll be 11-8 if it's soft ground. Dino Blue.
Yeah, she's one that's not moving anywhere. Yeah, she's the best horse in this. She's the quickest. She's the classiest, and she's had the best campaign going into this. It's the campaigning of mares going into this. First half of the season, a write-off. Like Ellie Mae, exactly the same as Ellie Mae.
It does have Ellie Mae vibes.
Comes back and wasn't impressive, but won, and it's all about winning and connections. maybe more the trainer, because the way they trained, I think it would have been pretty gutted at how it materialised last year for her. And I just like her kind of prep that's coming to it now, and she's peaking, and I think she'll build on that again. Her run that beat Allegory Devassi, she looked like the one out of the two that would improve from that. And Allegory Devassi already had a confidence boost the time before and was straighter and fitter and had weight concession and didn't do enough the other day. So yeah, I think, and the fact she was second at Grand Annual as well would annoy Willie Mullins. It's second,
Yeah.
third time lucky here. It bit like John Bond to a degree. It just feels like it's aligning for her that this is her time, and the Cromwell pair, the Cromwell Battalion bioluminescence just plateaued out a little bit. And when you read the context of her novice form going into open company, it's not as good as this. It just isn't. It's a stone behind. Only by night.
I'd rather go here than the Arkle if I was Cromwell.
Well, the ground should be drying out. Only by night and Limerick Lace are two to watch out, because one will run well on contrasting ground. Again, Limerick Lace is the same. Working back from last year.
Mm-hmm.
These horses are working back. Well, Bioluminescence Only by Night maybe have shown their hand as early season springers, and they get found out come this time of the year. And Limerick Lace might just be coming slowly back to hand. Was better the last day. We need it bottomless, but she has the back form to be a player. Obviously winning it last year. I don't think she'd be for me this year. And Telepathique was really good the last day. And seems to be everyone's understandable each way angle.
Yeah.
So she could definitely run well. Has a rating too, 148, and it's a justifiable rating. So she's definitely in there. But yeah, I think Dino Blue's another favourite that'll go in.
I just think she's short based on
They're all short. That's the issue. And odds against back form, it's just a bit better than these. And all right, short, but the top two pulled miles clear the rest. There's just not enough depth now, and there's contenders in behind that are slowly one by one falling by the wayside for me.
I'm maybe going to sound controversial here, but I wouldn't buy Allegory Devassi for this at all.
That's the thing. Second favourite, chucked it away against Impervious the year that she was lined up to win it.
Chucked it away more than Dino Blue did. Dino Blue was staying onto the line, but Limerick Lace just had
ran well from a bad season in the Mayor's Chase last year, but was well beaten in fourth with no excuses. Has a run under her belt this year to get back to winning ways. Takes Dino Blue on a very good time to take her on, and still didn't win in a close finish. And she usually finishes second in these narrow finishes. So if it was tight up the running, Dino Blue all the way. If it was between those two and they pulled away, Dino Blue would beat the second favourite. In my opinion, Bioluminescence can get back to that old form and it's bottomless. She comes back into the equation, but it would need to be attritional.
It would need to be soft,
And will that attritional conditions even play her favour now that she's had quite a lot of racing recently? Back to back and two pretty hard growlers on background as well. Telepathique might be the springer in there. Bride's Hill's kind of plateaued a little bit. It's hard to see anything else really making a significant impression, and I think that's why Dino Blue is as short as she is, because it's all coming together, I think, for her.
I just think she's short at the price. If she goes out to maybe 2-194, I might see how I feel, but I'm on Bioluminescent 25s. I'm just going to keep that ticket. Telepathique, I think, is a real each way player here, and I think if the ground is kind of decent, I think she's got a real chance. So you're Dino Blue, and can I go each way? Maybe just play Bioluminescence and Telepathique.
Yeah, Dino Blue for me. Yeah.
Okay, we'll move into the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. We've got two in the top of the market here that are very likely not to go. Final Demand is 6-1, Yellow Clay 7-2, Big Westerner 8-1. She's likely going. We've got Jasmine DeVoe 14s, Jet Blue, Wingmen, Windigo, Ballyboe at 16, 18 to 1 and 20 to 1 bar. Oh, it's a very interesting race. It has the makings of an old-fashioned Albert Bartlett, where I don't think there's like a superstar in it. That leads to potentially looking at the bottom of the market. Is anything catching your eye at the moment?
This is a bookie's benefit, this, isn't it?
This will be there. This will be.
The last 8 runners has been 14 to 1 or bigger, apart from the year Monkfish won it at 5.
That was the best renewal ever.
That was a cracking race. I really like this race. It kind of rescues the Friday, supporting actor in the Gold Cup, really, for me. There's a lot of interesting types here in the Big Westerner. I think we'll probably go off favourite. It's just a very likeable mare. Her form isn't sparkling, and I think she'd want it soft. She's a favourite that's there to be shot at for sure, and 6-1 reflects that. But the top 2 will come out in final demand. The Yellow Clay, they'll go turners. Ballyboe seems to come in for a lot of support the last day, and you can see why. He's kind of the usual kind of honest Scorn Elliott horse that can run wellness, so can Wingmen. That might be the 2 that he's just focusing on this year by the sounds of it in their final plan. I would prefer Ballyboe to Wingmen, I think.
I would as well.
Even though Wingmen might come in a lot if final demand won, for instance. I think Wendigo is a nice horse, but probably short enough. Jet Blue, the French horse, has probably been forgotten about quite a bit after Cheltenham. Has a rating and maybe tactical speed to be involved. I wasn't kind of taken with him in the November beating too much in the race in behind. It hasn't worked out overly strongly. Intense Approach is a horse that I like, and I do quite like him each week, because he seems to be going to get his ground. And John McConnell's Musselburgh effort was
does have a good record in this, John McConnell.
He does. He's had a couple of thirds of Streets of Doyen and Bardenston Lad, and this guy's very similar. And he's got course and distance form at the start of the season. You go to Musselburgh for good ground and you win there. He was a lovely price that day, and he did it well. And yeah, he's got a good each way chance if the ground's good, and I think he's an honest type that will run his race, and he's not got a lot to find on form in an open year, if anything, really. Derry and Paddy, I wonder if the weight Aintree with him now after missing Haydock. I think that might be the plan. I think it's changed owners as well. I'm not really sure what they're kind of doing there with him, so I think you'd have to hold fire and wait for declarations. But Portulane can run well. I've had a poke at Fishery Lane at a big price at 50s, is now 20s. Whether he turns up or not, don't know, but he's an unknown quantity that could, and ran 5th at the Cheltenham Bumper, so I see no reason why you just not fling him in. He's getting better with experience and settling. He's got back classes trained by Master and Willie Mullins. He could be kind of like him and Argento Boy Portugal. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if one of them was like a nice guy type figure where they just come out the woodwork and run really well from nowhere. And yeah, I mean, Machan too could bounce back from a disappointing Doncaster run for Emma Lavelle. I know 130 is probably get a bit defined, but I mean, could do so. So yeah, it's a race that's shaping up to have some flyers in it. Yasmin Devoy can't jump, has the engine, can stay.
No chance.
It's class. Well, I see no chance, but
he will belt something and finish 9th.
The thing is, this is a race where he's actually back to his distance, and
I think he will get gambled. By the way, I'll be shocked if he's not.
Well, he's his back class is, he won the champion bumper. I mean, there will be people that will take a chance. I'm saying, well, this is already enough. He's back at an appropriate trip. There's less jumping involved here in 3 miles. He's got the engine for 3 miles. Whether he's soft ground or not, I don't know, but. Yeah, and he kind of has been gambled, hasn't he? He's tens and Betfair now. Yeah, I think Ballyboe at the top of the market is probably the most interesting one. But I do like Intense Approach and Fishery Lane just outside that, and that's where I would be going. Sounds victorious. He'd plod into it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know the conditions on the day. It's Fishery Lane for me at the moment.
I think the Big Westerner deserves respect. Whether she's good enough at this stage to win a race like this, I'm not sure. I think it's very, very interesting that they are going here. She is a 3 miler, and I think she is definitely worth a mention. Whether I would back her at that price at the moment, I'm not sure. I'm with you. I think Fisher Lane. I think Fisher Lane's improvement in his second run was very interesting. I thought he jumped a lot better, made one mistake, has the class. I think Jacob's Ladder, I thought, showed a lot the other day. I think he was good. I think he could be one that could run well at a big price. One at an absolutely wild price. Now, I'm not sure if they are going to go here with him. Winey's Hill for Gordon Elliott. 9th behind Kopek, the board. Looks to be a stayer. Pedigree says to be a stayer. Second in a point-to-point over 2.5.
I think I saw an update with Gordon Elliott saying that he's just going to run 2.
Okay.
Ballybo and Wingmen, I think was it. I think, but yeah, I mean they're always outside. I mean, Stella Story was drafted in it late last year, so if they do, if any Gordon Elliott runner here would merit any sort of respect anyway. So there's a lot of horses in here that are definitely worth second looks.
I think it's a tough race. Again, you're looking at the top of the bet, and I thought 40 Coach for a while was lined up for this, but they've obviously decided to maybe go 2.5. It's a tough race. It's one that you're maybe waiting to do. I've backed Fishery Lane, obviously, and I think probably with you, think he's maybe the one you could say that has a bit of kind of class. It's been one with different types over the past few years. You've obviously got the nice guy type who looked to be all class, never went on and done it over fences, or you've got the likes of the Stay Away Faye and the Stella Story who just grind it in. I don't see like a Corbett's Cross in here though. If Corbett's Cross had jumped that last hurdle, would have won the length of the straight. I don't see that in here.
Yeah, there could be. I mean, it's not obvious, is it? I mean, it's the kind of thing where something could develop into that, and we've not really kind of seen it. And I think there's a good prospect that we're going to get better ground, so it might not be the kind of slog that it can be in recent years. And that would suit. So, I mean, if it was tomorrow, I would back Intense Approach and Fishery Lane each week.
Okay. And I think I'll go for Fishery Lane and Jacob's Ladder. We'll move into the big one, the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and we haven't seen it, but best mate in Arkle did it. Galloping Deschamps is 8-15 to win, but 3 successive Gold Cups. Callum, it is very hard to see him not doing it when you look at the field. Banbridge is in here at 8-1. If it's good ground, can see it. Fact to File 10-1, Monty Star 12. You've got Corbett's Cross, Grange Clare West 20s 33-1 bar. In what world does Galloping Deschamps not make history here?
In a horrible, bad, sick world, and and hopefully in an opposite universe. No, this.
How many runners do we get in this?
Mm-hmm.
How many runners do you think are in this?
Galloper will go, Banbridge will go, Monty Star will go, Corbett's Cross will go, Long Press will go, Ahoy Senor will go. Probably about it. 7.
You're looking about 8 runners, yeah. And it's
Grange Clare West might go, but it didn't seem that he will. But one of the others would go. So yeah, 7 or 8.
I can't see a world in which he's beat. And it's not. I don't like an odd. I know John Short in a Gold Cup, obviously, especially at that price, is unheard of. But this season, like you were getting 4-1 after the Chundurkin.
Yeah, well, it could be, but I mean, it's what I wrote about last week. 41. Yeah, it does look still a century now, but it was pretty valid concerns at 41.
Yeah, definitely.
Stable mate that looked good, and he shaped as if he would improve further past him a little bit. And he said 2 Battleharm Gold Cups, you think, well, is he starting to feel it at last? But he should never have doubted them, and it's fine. And 41 is still 41, and it was still 4 months away. So I mean, they would get carried away with it. If that's the kind of thing that you're dealing with. 4-1 shots, 4 months, 6 months out. That done at odds on seems to be a stroke of genius. If you're not a kind of big player and you want to heat your powder dry, you don't see 4-1 as value that far out in anything at all.
But you always had the thing. You always had the thing when it gets to Leopardstown. Fact to File has to beat Galloping Deschamps. So there was a lot of people thinking, still has to do it. 4-1's pretty big.
Yeah.
and they look, as you say, they look geniuses.
If
I
you're
haven't backed
inclined,
him. I haven't backed him at that price. I wouldn't have touched him after that. But
if you're inclined to think that, but I mean, that's just more of a kind of personal betting point. I mean, I don't want to take 4-1 in anything at Cheltenham in November.
Mhm.
That's just me. It's simple as that. You know, it's
Yeah.
hard to get there enough, and no bet. It's not there at the time. You know, it's a big enough risk, and arguably it was just simply too short, too far out, in my opinion. But that's the way it's going. So in hindsight, it probably isn't. But I just can't bring myself to play that way. Yeah, hopefully he will make history. You know, he did it fairly easily the first time around, from the back, and the second time, you know, he's done it from the front when reasonably prominent, even easier. But it's just the way he does things on the second last, the last of the line. It's just superb, and that's what kind of makes him have that air of invincibility about him. The way he kind of puts races to bed ruthlessly and efficiently, and you just expect him to do this again, and it's cut up, you know, because people are fed up of trying to take him on in races like this. You know,
I think there'll be a wee bang as well, though. If you're the horse to beat Galloping Deschamps to win the Gold Cup, you're getting booed in.
yeah,
I
you're
mean,
not getting booed if you manage to back it. You know, that's the thing. I mean, Alpine Photo wasn't booed when Manila Indo won. That's for sure. You know, and he was going for 3 in a row. So yeah, but that was a better race. There was more opponents, and Galloping Deschamps a far better horse than Alpine Photo, but they were still trying to make history and win. And he didn't, and Manila Indo beat him. That was a horse trained by Henry de Bromhead, who was 8. Monty Star.
Okay.
Shown nothing all season. Probably not get the body of work that Manilindo had coming into this, but he's of similar ilk. He went missing the last day, but again, that was Henry de Bromhead yard. But again, he travelled well up to a point and checked out. I don't think he can back him against him because I don't think A's done enough, and B, it's probably not good enough, but he does have untapped potential, and he's much more interesting than quite a few of the other
Would you
releases.
enter Banbridge?
No, not for me. Not at this trip around Cheltenham. I mean, a better ground might help him narrow the gap, but I don't think he'll improve for going up an extra quarter of a mile here. You know, 3 mile at Kempton, I think he did well to box on, but I think he had enough tactical speed over shorter to catch Chile front say and run in. And yeah, the way he ran at Cheltenham, even though soft ground's a legitimate excuse, last year Ryanair it's pretty unbackable for me. But he's a different opponent to take on Galloping Deschamps, I suppose. You know, I can see why Monty Star is where he is in the market, because he's another horse that hints at that there's a big performance in him. I don't think his back catalogue is quite there, but he's a type of kind of Jerry Cologne type figure, really, where it's kind of maybe he's, because Factfell's not there, maybe he's kind of the novice that can come and take him on, but he was put in his place readily by Factfell last year. He hasn't. I think he run a season best, a career best here, but I would have liked to have seen him either like winning debut or maybe show a little bit more the last day to kind of justify taking on such a champion like Galloping Deschamps. I don't think he can. I think 1-2 is okay, because he would be shorter if it was a champion hurdle, but it's not, because it's a Gold Cup. There's a lot of fences and a lot can go wrong, but he just deals with it and wins. You know, he was a shade of odds on last year, and this looks easier opposition wise. It does. And he's coming into this in not as good form, but definitely in very good heart. And I think his superiority over the rest has just been further cemented, and that's why he's at this price. So I can't argue 1-2. And look, if you've got a multi that's racking up and it's still there, and this is your last leg, you'd be absolutely thrilled. You'd be in a wonderful position, and he is the one horse that you'd if you had a multi coming into this and you were relying on Galloping to get over the line, you wouldn't be cashing out.
He's the one
He's
of
the
the
one.
whole. He's the one of the whole meeting you can't see getting beat. Constitution Hill, you can see maybe.
I think him and Marsborough are two that I would be really, really amazed if they didn't win.
Yeah,
They're the two absolute kind of 100% good things. It's impossible to take them on. It seems pointless. So what you have to do is look at the without market and who's going to run. The home press 8-1 each way without Galopin Des Champs and Betfair is pretty good, I think.
What price is Corbett's Cross?
He could be 100-1. He's not winning this.
He's not winning it, but
he's not placing it either. So he is the slowest jumper I have seen all this distance. And I mean, okay, he ran okay at Ascot and boxed on, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good as people think he is.
I don't think he's as good as people think he is, but I think he's...
I know the way you're thinking should be in here.
Yeah, definitely. I would back him each way without a doubt.
That would concern me automatically.
I think Corbett's Cross, though, there is one day it'll just click and this could be it, where he could finish second. I think Banbridge, I'm surprised that this is... They're desperate. I know that obviously the trainer will maybe want to go here. The home press, nah. Ahoy Senor, no chance. Corbett's Cross to me could just be that. He won the National Hunt Chase last year, so we know he acts round Cheltenham and should have won an Albert Bartlett. Again, it was his temperament that eliminated him there. But
that's another problem with him, in my opinion. I mean, he ran out in Albert Bartlett. He jumps really high and inefficiently, and it doesn't seem like he's going to get his ground. And he's got no ounce of tactical speed whatsoever. The home press, for all his faults and he's exposed, he was there, bang there, 2 out, disputing things. Placing King George's, won the Cotswold. I think better ground might help him see the trip out. He's got decent enough experience, and he's 8-1 each way against horses like Banbridge, Monty Star, and Corbett's Cross, who on days like this, well, for varying reasons, haven't done it at Cheltenham. And I think 8-1 each way, and what's going to be, he's going to be one of 6 other runners out with the favourite at 8s. For him to be second, third, or fourth, he's fourth last year. The top, the second and third aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
You need a window for a hoist in your to rewind the years and work the absolute oracle to even contemplate him. So you're looking at 5 to beat, and Monty Star just hasn't done anything of significance yet. He could in here. There's potential and that's excitement. Corbett's Cross is the same, but he just simply hasn't ran to the level that the home press has, even underneath Galopin Des Champs. And Banbridge might be more of a kind of Kempton type, and I think this trip, Paul Townend even said that he wouldn't improve for the Gold Cup trip when he came off him at Kempton. That's pretty stark, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And a pretty damning indictment of it. So he's another favourite that you like, because I'm not worried about the second favourite, and I don't think Corbett's Cross is going to get his ground to get involved in this. And the home press might be second, and at 8-1 each way without the favourite, I think it's an okay bet, because he can't go right-handed, and I'm surprised he ran him at Ascot, but Venetia Williams, he can get him back for it quite well, quite effectively. And he's a quicker horse at Corbett's Cross, and I think he's still a better one.
So we're both Galopin Des Champs goes for 3.
Galopin Des Champs outright, and the home press to be second in each way in the without market 8s.
I might have a wee saver on Corbett's Cross each way. Let's move into the final 3 races on Friday before we move into our best bet. County Hurdle, Foxhunter and Martin Pipe. Again, very sad. Obviously, we'll go to the Foxhunter first for you, Callum. I think a lot of your festival relies on Angel's Dawn.
Race of the week. Race of the week, as it always is. The second last Hunter's Chase. Yeah, she's in there. You'd like to see maybe a bit of rain in the forecast on the day to kind of help her. I just think she's an outstanding class act in this race. And all things being equal, if they've got the prep right, and they seem to be very happy, I think she'll win. I think will it go ahead's a Springer, and I've had a suitable saver on him at 10s. He's now 5s. Angel Dawn's 13-2 now, 97-2. I'm pretty happy there. They should both have Rye Hill covered in collateral form, and the fact that he's improving I think it just bolsters them above it. I think it's on the line as we know what he is. He's a hunter chaser. He's exposed. I don't think he's getting any better. Yes, he has a chance, but he's very vulnerable at the top of the market, and the market's realigning. Bit of money for Shearer. He's a mid-130s horse, and they all are in behind. All Mankind won't stay.
No chance. Absolutely.
Rocky's Howe could run well in Ireland. I'd be amazed if a British horse got seriously involved.
I thought maybe at a price Wonderwall has been quite decent last 2 point to points. Obviously has a bit of form in the past over hurdles, so I wouldn't be surprised if he run quite well.
Same yard as Angel's Dawn though.
Yeah.
There's an obvious number one there, amateur rider, and he's on Angel's Dawn. So
no, I'm hoping Angel's Dawn wins for you. As I say, I'll probably maybe if I say the county hurdle, Mullins and Skelton benefit in recent years. Do you see anything in that?
No, I mean it's kind of one of these races where you kind of get warm to your kind of old kind of favourites. I back Pied Piper on this religiously, and he places all the time, and he's 20-25 to 1 if I don't see him again. So again, I can see myself backing him at a big price. He's obviously not well, and he's very vulnerable. There's a plethora of unexposed types at the top of the market, and whoever Paul Townend does decide to ride is probably going to be pretty significant.
It comes off absurd.
Well, you'd have said he might have went off for Ethical Diamond, but then Ethical Diamond, I think, was one of the Irish horses that got a big whack.
143 he's been given.
Yeah, so Absurd's still off 146, and if he gets better ground, he's going to be shown to better effect again. So, presume if he's forward enough, he's had to spin the flat 129 days ago, so he's not been seen all year. But I'd imagine if they've trained him, primed in it, if he is, then you'll see him move, and he'd probably go off favourite because I think McLaurie did well to win. Blind inexperience at Leopardstown, and they did back him that day, and he was a good short thing. I think this is going to be tougher for him though, and I think he would like a step up in trip. I would have preferred him to be in one of the 2.5 milers. I think he could get caught for a bit of pace. Lark in the Morning's dangerous, very dangerous.
He's been kept quiet, I think. Yeah.
If he gets in, it's been non-existent since he really won the Freddie Winter, and again he. Like Absurd, he won his handicap on bad ground when they were saying that he needed good ground. You would not surprise me if those two fought at the finish. That's a good Kirgisov 141. There's been a good move for her, but I think she was so disappointing face value at Ascot that you wouldn't really entertain her here in a race like this at eights. I don't think. Wouldn't surprise me if she was a different proposition here and won, but again, probably Danny Mullins would ride her. I would think, and they would say maybe one of Ethical Diamond and Absurd, and Paul Townend would ride one of them.
Well, Carnac's at 5 runs, so he can run here. I think so. I think though the way the handicap, I can see just going to Supreme.
It's steep enough, isn't it? Yeah. You'd run them in Grady Company or leave him for something else. Maybe wait for Aintree even, because he's not going to run as many as you would really think here. Valgrand or Skelton's seems to be their number one. I would have preferred Country Mile in this, though, to him. I think he's better, a bit more tactical speed. I think Valgren might want it soft as well. Bartlett Road could come here, maybe a bit too weighty for him. And I was kind of like Carol Dumatan had a good word for Paul Nicholls. Might run well, track Cheltenham, maybe a bit of a concern. And the others probably have plenty to found. I mean, I thought Bunting was another one that wanted soft ground at 2.5 miles. Daddy Longlegs is probably another one that's handicapped out of it and might not go. And Derby could run well with flat horse, but it might be another one that wants a bit further. I went down to Pied Piper and thought, he could run well again. He turns up, he's an honest horse, 25s. 154, his mark's not buzzed, but he's still an only 7-year-old. He's going to run to that standard all the time. He was third in it last year off 156. Similar non-existent prep to this. I don't think I let him on. He went off 14s that day. He was second in it at 12s in 2023, third in it 2024. He's down to 153, he's not been seen, but he did have a fall at 49 at Punchestown, and maybe it's taken him a wee bit a while to come back. But it's factored into the price. He's a consistent horse. His Cheltenham Festival record is 3-2-3. And that's in the Triumph and 2 county hurdles. So he's off the same mark. I'd imagine they'd stick a claimer on him this time. Danny Gilligan rode him last year. So, and suddenly they said were two very good horses that beat him, and he was off top weight. So he's off £3 lower. So actually, one's away from the obvious ones at the top of the market. He's a kind of consistent horse that runs his race and places in this, and he's a reasonable price at 20-25 to 1 to do so again.
And in the Martin Pipe, obviously, the aforementioned Copec de Me is strongly fancied to go here. Woodoo's in here as well off 141. Couple I like in this that probably will need stuff to come out to get in. East India Express for Nicky Henderson, I think, has just been going about his business quite smoothly. And I also think the Enabler could run a big race here. I think this is a plan to go here. I think they two would, if East India Express can get in, I think could have a big chance of 129.
Absolutely. I mean, you get unexposed horses running this all the time, but I mean, Copec de Me has gone from 14s, 12s, 10s, 8s, 6s, 5s, 9 to 2, 4 to 1, 10 to 3. Yeah, the money
I mean, he's short for this than anything.
The money is piling into him as of this morning, and it's just going to be sustained, isn't it, till the off. He's probably the handicap gamble of the festival in this.
Have we seen this a lot though in the past? Like
Gaelic Warrior that could beat
Gaelic Warrior. Was it Sam Majest? Was it last season and the season before? Saint Felician. They come from France and they don't usually win.
Saint Ryan State Man win. Some of them don't win. That's the kind of thing. People remember the winners that they're on. The losers sometimes are kind of forgotten about it. It can go wrong, and we don't know a lot about them. Don't know anything about him. He wouldn't have run for 310 days.
I saw. Was it David Casey? I think he said it was meant to be going over fences this season.
He had a small injury.
Yeah, they had an injury. So I'm like, well, that's two things straight away that put me off.
Well, if that's true or not, and I think that is true. But one thing I don't believe is that he's just coming back to work now. He's definitely been working away in the background. I do believe the early season stuff, but I don't really believe what's happening.
It was mentioned in a stable tour at the start of the season, and I think it was a Sport and Life one that Willie did, and he just said that he was a horse that they got from France. He didn't say what a plan was or anything. So there's been mentions, but I think he's got 5 runs over hurdles in France.
Well, that's what they're going to do with these new rules, aren't they? I mean, you can see that. I mean, if Mercia dotted up in the Boodles for some reason, just buy your horses from France later. Just say, give them 2 or 3 runs here because of this nonsensical rule. And
I don't think that rule will be in place next season.
That means that they might change it back again because you're just all you're seeing is just see more of these horses just run in France until they come over here and you'll know even less about them. But that's another kind of issue altogether. No Ordinary Joe's there on sufferance, but I think East India Express is definitely the Henderson horse to
Another big word about East India Express is Freddie Gordon has been on him the last twice.
So he's on again.
It's a relationship thing, obviously, getting to know the horse with a plan in mind.
And he won back-to-back quickly, Kempton and Ascot. Okay, different tracks 6 to this.
Days,
but he did it back-to-back. There's a lot of potential there. He's definitely interesting. I almost toyed putting him up about 14s. I think he's getting clipped into 10s now, but if it was 14s about...
14s is in bet 365.
No use to me again. But 10s, Tapping the Go was obvious. The Bromhead Eye Catcher, that's Waterford Whispers kind of mode-ish. Maybe not as obvious. Woodhoo was a big gamble and then get a massive hike, but we'll still have a chance in this. I would prefer her on the new course. I'd actually
you like one here, don't you, for the Skelton team?
I do, yeah. Nurse Susan, a big price. 51 earlier in the week, clipped into 40s and 33s. She's a mare's hurdle entry, which is highly regarded that she's been off to miss the season. Been off for 418 days, but there's really a lot of high class back form. Off 133. Same ownership as Langer Dan, who bumped into Gallop and Bishop in this, of all horses to bump into. And he's been kind of saying fitness wise, she hasn't got her together, and he would like to run her in the mare's hurdle if they had a clean run with her. It's coming back together, and he said that she'll improve for the run. Now, while I would definitely believe that, there's no way that they're coming here with a women thinking that this is A, not well handicapped, and B, not fit. So you're having kind of a 33, 40, 50, 51 shot to nothing here, saying, well, if she's not fit, she won't run. If she's fit enough to do herself justice, she will run. And if they think she's graded class to suffice for a mare's hurdle entry, they must think that she's maybe probably get a stone in hand off 133. Last run that I saw her, she absolutely thumped Gill Road.
Yeah.
six and a bit lengths. Okay, its head at a sustained duel with Rammel of Venetia Williams is given that £11. And that horse hasn't really done much since, and it's kind of gone back subsequently. But she might like Bold Endeavour, horses like that, Angel's Breath, knock them sideways. And she's just been off. She's gone quite short all the time. Was fourth Festival 2022 in the Mayor's Novices hurdle, the year that Love Envoy won it, and she only get beat 4.5 lengths. Again, that style around Cheltenham's Old Course, towards the back, steady headway, running on quite nicely. That race churned out decent horses. Impervious was one of them that was beaten in midfield. So there is potential there, and she's gone off very short prices every time she's run.
Mm-hmm.
This is a plan, very unexposed. Trainer and festival handicaps knows what he's doing for sure, and 133 seems very, very viable. You're taking a chance on her well-being, of course, but you know what the Dan Skelton yard are like, and bringing one back from that far away, 13 months layoff. It can be done, and at least you're kind of taking a big price to kind of find out. You're not really over-investing it, and you could look at it again on the day and think, I've got a decent each-way play here. Maybe I'll just still lump and Kopek to me if you're having a good time, or find something else at the top of the market, because there's plenty of nice unexposed types. East India Express would top the list at the top of the market for me. But yes, Nurse Susan's one to monitor at a big price, I would think.
Right, so we're going to move in now to the final part of the show. Our best bets, lay, and a little each way for you, Callum. What is your nap of the 2025 Cheltenham Festival?
Angel's Dawn, Hunter's Chase.
Okay, and my nap of the Cheltenham Festival 2025 is Final Demand in the Turners Novices Hurdle. Have you got a strong lay?
J. de Grugy in the Mayor's Hurdle.
I'm going to go for Maureen in the Mayor's Novice. And a little each way play. What's your best bet at a big price for the Cheltenham Festival?
We've been be away on the Coral Cup, but that's kind of gone now price-wise. So I would say Nurse Susan the Martin Pipe.
Okay, I'm going to go for at a big price in the Boodles. I'm going to go for Wendrock and the Boodles. So you're going to go for Nurse Susan and the Martin Pipe. Callum, best of luck for the Cheltenham Festival. That has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just hoping all these horses get there sounding well, and all the entries and all things go to plan. Yeah, really looking forward to it and see what happens.
Yeah, we will have a couple more shows before the Cheltenham Festival, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching our previous show, folks. We'll see you all soon.